This is Dwight Strachan with Morning Blend. On behalf of the crew and my co-hosts, I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and an incredibly blessed and prosperous New Year.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good morning. Two straight, one family does it again. The government concerned about the impact of the cruising fee increase. And the court awards $30,000 to men unlawfully arrested in a murder probe. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning, Bahamas. It is Friday, January 2nd, 2026. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Laverne Gardner will be here with us on this first show of 2026, the new year. Happy New Year to you. Hope you had a wonderful holiday season. Also this morning, our monthly series with Clifton Heritage Authority, our history series. We're going to be talking about Junkanoo around the world. It's not just ours, but we do it better than anybody else. We'll talk about how other countries celebrate this tradition as well. That's all ahead on this Friday after the holiday. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, one family did it again after winning the 2025 Boxing Day Junkanoo Parade. One family continued its winning streak, clinching victory in the 2026 New Year's Day Junkanoo Parade for a double victory. The winning group took Bay Street to church under the theme, "No matter what, we go to church, so what's your reason?" One family performances created a choir and performed hymns like "How Great Thou Art" and "Great Is Thy Faithfulness." Dancers were dressed in their Sunday best and danced on Bay Street in pink and lavender uniformed lines, waving their fans from left to right. The crowd could not help but get up and move to the rhythm of the brass and beat of the goatskin drum as both the performers and the crowd shouted "Music and Warriors." One family finished with 594 points. In second place were the Shell Saxon Superstars, which finished with 566 under the theme "The Crusaders, the Divine Battle for Salvation." Roots placing third with 539 points under the theme "The Greatest Shows on Earth," and the world-famous Valley Boys from 1958 finishing fourth with 533 points, their theme "Journey Through the Wild Wild West." Following them, the Genesis Warhawks placing fifth with 531 points, Gathering of the Tribes, their theme, and the Way Forward Valley Boys, led by Trevor Davis, finished sixth with 446 points under the theme Bahamian or Nuttin. Music Makers, seventh with 399 points. Prodigal Sons, eighth with 225 points. In the B division, Colors Entertainment Junkanoo Group took home first place for the New Year's Day parade, following their victory with the Boxing Day parade. The Mortal second, Fancy Dancers third. In other news, Progressive Liberal Party Chairman Fred Mitchell says the government is deeply concerned about the reports of the impact of recently increasing boating fees on tourism in the country, though he said the issue remains complex. Mitchell saying in a voice recording Wednesday that the marina tax issue is not as simple as it appears, saying, quote, the Deputy Prime Minister said the matter is being reviewed, and I can tell you all of us in the government are concerned, I would say deeply concerned, about the knock-on effects of this in the tourism sector. I have friends in West End, for example, another friend in Harbour Island, who say that their marinas are empty, no business, no taxes. Some marina owners have claimed that the recent increases have contributed to a 40% drop in boating traffic this year compared to 2024. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism Chester Cooper Monday saying the government will review the fees. Mitchell, though, saying there has to be a balance struck that takes into account the environmental impact of the industry. A Supreme Court judge has awarded two brothers $15,000 each after finding that police unlawfully arrested them during a murder investigation. Emerson Bethel and Gerald Bethel sued the Commissioner of Police and Attorney General and sought damages for unlawful arrest, false imprisonment, and a violation of their constitutional right to be protected from arbitrary arrest. Justice Leigh Farquharson ruled in their favor following a trial and awarded each man $12,000 in basic compensatory damages and $3,000 in exemplary damages as well as legal costs. The action stemmed from their arrest on April 14, 2021, as police investigated the fatal shooting of Anthony Roll at Nassau Street that took place 10 days earlier. The brothers were arrested at their convenience store located on Augusta Street and detained for almost 24 hours before they were released without charge. The defendants justified the arrest of the Bethels on the basis that before his death, Roll told responding officers that the person who shot them associates with an individual known as Fat Boy from Baintown. However, both claimants denied that they were known by that alias. You can read more on that story in today's Nassau Guardian. Investigations continue into a shooting in Pinewood on New Year's Eve. Police say that a 48-year-old man and a girl were injured. Police responding to a shooting in that area of Buttonwood and Sapodilla Avenue. Upon arrival, officers were directed to a greenhouse where they discovered the male victim with gunshot wounds to his stomach and right leg. A girl was also found at that location with gunshot wounds to the right side of her chest and her lower right forearm. Police say the shooting occurred after the male victim got into an argument over funds with another man. The suspect pulled a gun and opened fire, injuring both victims before fleeing on foot. Both are taken to the hospital. They're listed in stable condition. And a 45-year-old man who was traveling to Haiti was detained by police and airport authorities after he failed to declare funds exceeding the legal limit for travel. On December 31st, officers acting on intelligence identified and searched a man who was scheduled to travel to Haiti. During the search, officers uncovered a total of $18,515 concealed in the man's bag and within the lining of his clothing, U.S. dollars. The police arrested and cautioned the individual, who is currently assisting officers in the ongoing investigations. Overseas, about 40 partygoers are dead and many others injured following one of the worst tragedies in Switzerland's history. of fire breaking out inside a Swiss Alpine bar, injuring about 115 people, many of them in their teens to mid-20s, as it ripped through the crowded The Constellation bar at the ski resort of Crans, Montana. One man telling the Associated Press that 2 or 3 of his friends remained missing hours after the disaster. Late Thursday, mourners left candles and flowers in an impromptu memorial near the bar. Hundreds of others prayed for the victims at the nearby Church of Montana Station. Pope Leo sending a telegram today to the bishop of the area to express condolences to the region and pray that, quote, the Lord will welcome the deceased into his abode of peace and light, and will sustain the courage of those who suffer in their hearts or in their bodies. Representatives from France and Italy say their nationals are among the missing. And widening demonstrations sparked by Iran's ailing economy spread Thursday into the Islamic Republic of Iran, mainly into the rural provinces, with at least 7 people being killed in the first fatalities reported among security forces and protesters. The deaths may mark the start of a heavier-handed response by Iran's theocracy over the demonstrations, which have slowed in the capital, Tehran, but expanded elsewhere. The fatalities, 2 on Wednesday and 5 on Thursday, occurred in 4 cities, largely home to Iran's Nur ethnic group. The protests have become the biggest in Iran since 2022, when the death of a 22-year-old woman in police custody triggered nationwide demonstrations. And Indonesia today began enforcing its newly ratified penal code, replacing a Dutch-era criminal law that had governed the country for more than 80 years, marking a major shift in its legal landscape. Since proclaiming independence in 1945, the Southeast Asian country had continued to operate under a colonial framework widely criticized as outdated and misaligned with Indonesia's social values. Efforts to revise the code stalled for decades as lawmakers debated how to balance human rights, religious norms, and local traditions in the world's most populous Muslim-majority nation. The 345-page Indonesian Penal Code, passed in 2022, at the time then U.S. State Department spokesperson Ned Price said the U.S. was closely monitoring the revised penal code for its Democratic partner. It criminalizes sex outside marriage and reintroduces penalties for insulting the president and state institutions. It comes into force following a 3-year transition period. In sports, it didn't come easy as it came down to the championship game's final possessions, but the St. George's High School Jaguars have dethroned the C.I. Gibson Rattlers for the senior boys title at the 23rd Providence Basketball Club High School Holiday Classic Tuesday at the C.I. Gibson Gym. The Jaguars, hailing from Freeport, won 58-55 for their first title at the Christmas holiday tournament. The Senior Boys champions joined the Agape Christian School Eagles, hailing from Abaco, who won their third straight Junior Boys crown against the D.W. Davis Royals. And from the NBA, Heyman, Valdez, VJ Edgecombe coming through again for the Philadelphia 76ers, bearing a clutch three-pointer with just 1.7 seconds remaining in their overtime game against the Memphis Grizzlies, leading them to a hard-fought 139-136 win in Memphis. Edgecombe's shot giving them a three-point cushion late in the game, and the Grizzlies rookie forward Cedric Coward missing a 25-foot three-point jumper at the buzzer. And from college football, Trinidad Chambly's making stunning plays at pivotal moments. That's a name, by the way. Mississippi doing fine without Lane Kiffin. Chambly's passing for 362 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Lucas Carneiro kicking off a 47-yard field goal with 6 seconds left to put the number 6 Mississippi in front for good in a 39-34 victory over third-ranked Georgia in a college football playoff quarterfinal at the Sugar Bowl on Thursday night. The Rebels have won 2 postseason games since Kiffin left for LSU. On November 30th, and defensive coordinator Pete Golding was promoted to fill the vacancy at the top of the staff. Next up for the Ole Miss is a semifinal matchup with Miami in the Fiesta Bowl. At sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. First look at weather for today. We've got cool and dry conditions influenced by weak high pressure. It's going to continue to blanket most of the country, promoting light to gentle winds and mostly stable conditions. Meanwhile, a lingering frontal boundary just south of the archipelago will continue to produce some shower activity, along with a few possible offshore thunderstorms near the southern islands. There is a moderate risk of early morning fog in marshy, coastal, and forested areas, so motorists and pedestrians are advised to exercise caution. Your forecast for today for the extreme northern islands, including Grand Bahama, partly sunny, becoming partly cloudy later today. Got a less than 10% chance of showers, winds west to northwest at 10 knots or less. For the rest of the northwest Bahamas, including New Providence and the central islands today, we're looking at a mix of sun and clouds, becoming partly cloudy later today, less than a 10% chance of showers, winds northerly at less than 10 knots. For the rest of the southeast Bahamas, partly cloudy with a 10 to 20% chance of showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms. Winds north to northeast at 10 to 15 knots, falling light and variable at times. Temperatures today still pretty cool for the extreme northern islands, highs around 73 Fahrenheit, 23 Celsius. Slightly warmer for the rest of the northwest and the central islands, highs in the mid to upper 70s, around 24 Celsius. And still in the 80s for the southeast Bahamas, around 81 Fahrenheit, 27 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight in the 50s for the extreme northern islands, around 57 Fahrenheit, 14 Celsius. In the low 60s for the northwest Bahamas, around 61 Fahrenheit, 16 Celsius, and about 65 for the central and southeast Bahamas, about 18 to 19 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning, brought to you by Star General Insurance, made simple. We'll have your extended outlook coming up in just a bit.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
You are listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Looking to elevate your gadget game, or are tech troubles simply slowing you down? Escape to a world of innovation at Custom Computers, your go-to store for the latest cutting-edge tech. Whether you need to upgrade your life with the best from Apple and Windows, or your device needs a little TLC, the Custom Computers Know-How Store is the destination for unbeatable expertise and quality repairs. With 2 convenient locations, there's a Custom Computers near you on Patton Street in Palmdale and Caves Village, or call 396-1100.
Southwest Plaza has so many stores, I've been trying to find a sensible way to list them all. There's CBS Bahamas, the Ashai Institute, BENC Snack World, Bamboo Shack Bahamas, there the Athlete's Foot and BTC, Games and More, John Bull Fine Threads, Alive, Bahari, Dairy Queen, 700 Wines and Spirits, Sandy's Clarkson Island Luck, Starbucks and Lowe's Pharmacy, plus Marco's Pizza and Lorraine. Southwest Plaza, what a wide array of stores. Southwest Plaza, stop by today and explore.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year, everybody, from Talking Heads, right here on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. See you in the new year.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. Remember, standard text rate supply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan, wishing you a happy new year. Welcome to 2026. Joining me now, Laverne Gardner. Laverne Gardner, happy new year.
Happy New Year, Dwight, and Happy New Year to our listeners. How are you?
Doing well. Back from a few days off.
It's been a while.
We haven't talked.
We haven't spoken for a while.
From mid-December, way back in 2025. Good to see you. Good to talk with you again.
Good to hear your voice.
How was Christmas for you?
Christmas was good. Family, food, fun.
Okay. Wonderful
So it was
stuff.
wonderful. My daughter was able to come home for Christmas this year again. And so we had a wonderful time. I had cousins and traveled for Christmas. It was a wonderful time.
Excellent. And you are
How
in
was your
Bahama?
Christmas?
It was good. Good to be back with you all for the new year. Wonderful stuff.
Yeah.
I want to thank Chester Robards for filling in for the past few days. So that was wonderful stuff there. You're back in Grand Bahama now?
I am.
Yep.
Yes.
So
So Christmas was in Grand Bahama.
Is it as cold as it seems?
It is. It absolutely is, Dwight. It's cold. I'm like, this is, yeah, I'm cold. And of course, I'm saying I'm cold, and my daughter's like, Mommy, we're at 20 or whatever degrees. Is that really? Listen, it's cold for
Oh,
me.
she's
I'm
speaking
cold.
in Celsius. Okay.
No, she's
Yeah.
talking about, yeah, she's talking about Canada
Uh-huh.
and,
Oh,
and
was
the
it
temperature
actually
there.
20
Yeah,
Fahrenheit?
yeah, I
Oh,
think so.
well,
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right. I'll
And
believe
so
that.
it's really cold for them. She went through Nassau. It's so crazy, not crazy, but very funny. She went through Nassau to go back to Canada, and she said so. They're all on the plane, and when they land at the airport in Toronto, Mississauga, people look through the window. It's raining and it's snowing. She said there was one large collective sigh. Everybody was,
Ah,
like, my God, we just left the Bahamas for this. But
oh boy.
it's cold over here. How cold is it in New Providence?
I wouldn't say cold, but comfortable, comfortable.
Oh,
And
okay.
and last night was chilly. Last night
Yeah.
I went outside and like, okay, this is nice. This is very refreshing.
Oh.
Yeah. So I think
Oh,
it
so
was in
you're one
the.
of those.
I
You're one of
mean,
those.
as your daughter would say, right? I mean, if you want cold, there are places you can go to experience cold, but this is cool and comfortable. This if only it could be like this all year round, it would be.
I'm not
It
asking
would
for
be
that. No.
really. Oh wow.
No, Dwight, I don't like extreme heat. I don't like when
Hmm.
it's hot, and I certainly am not enjoying this. I mean, and I have on socks, tam, all of that.
Okay.
All
Okay,
of
my
that.
word.
And I
I hear
think
you.
because also um in my home it's tiles throughout.
Hmm.
So I think that contributes to the temperature.
Oh yeah. Well, absolutely,
Yeah. So
absolutely. Oh well. Oh well. Anyway, hey, it'll be gone before you know it, and we'll all be.
apparently
Yeah, we'll
we'll be
be
back sweating.
sweating again in January. So yeah, yeah. Don't get too used to it. All right. So there's a whole lot to talk about right now in the news. So let's open our in the news segment of the show. Okay, in the news, Laverne, did you watch any of the Junkanoo here in Nassau?
So funny that you asked that. We attempted to watch both the Boxing Day and New Year's. I'm going to be honest, Dwight, we were in and out. Fell asleep, woke up, fell asleep, woke up. But can I say to you that I don't know, you would think that we had it planned. We woke up at key times. Like we
Mhm.
woke up and Saxons were on. We woke up and one family was on. Oh, it's crazy, right? So in and out. And then what I did, I also went back and watched some of it because different people post stuff on YouTube and all of that. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So I would say overall, I won't say that I watched it from beginning to the end, but I think that I watched a fair amount of it
All
both
right.
times.
Well, I didn't see much of Boxing Day, but New Year's I watched a good portion of it. I
Hmm.
totally missed for New Year's both Valley Boys, and I apparently
Me too.
based on the scores, I didn't miss anything. So that's
They're
interesting.
both in the rebuilding stage. That's what I'm
Hmm.
saying.
Well,
They're both in
yeah.
the rebuilding stage. And I'm thinking that by later this year for 2026 Boxing Day, and then for January 2027, we're going to see a marked improvement.
Okay, I hear you. I'm going to say, and I think other people might agree, that the only way that's going to happen is if they finally put this foolishness behind them and re-team, join
I,
together again. They
you
will
know what,
definitely be
Dwight?
more powerful together.
I initially would have agreed with you, but it just seems to me at this point, not that I have any insight, it just seems to me at this point that a line has been drawn and no one is willing to bend. Everybody's standing firm on what it is that they believe and they feel is right. And so, because of that, that's why I'm thinking, you have to go through this rebuilding process because it does not appear right now. Now, anything can happen, right? But it doesn't appear right now that there is even a willingness to come together.
Yeah, and we can see that, and that's why there
Right.
will always be also ran teams, right? They will always be in the positions they are if they don't come back together.
I don't think that they need to come back together necessarily, but what they do need to do is use a lot of the energy, maybe that this back and forth has been a distraction, not just for us, the fans, but also for them, right? And so now what they need to do is kind of just lock in, work on sponsors, work on the things that they need to work on to improve, rebuild, and let's see what happens.
And you're still saying
I'm giving them until Boxing Day to see what happens, to see if there's a difference.
Okay, and you're saying it's two separate entities. They should
As two separate entities.
Okay.
I'm saying this again based on the fact that right now there does not seem to be a willingness for either entity to come together to sit down and let's see how we can work out everything. And so because of that, I'm this type of this is how I look at it. We could continue maybe to kind of use energy in going back and forth, or we can say this is where we are right now. Let's lock into what it is that we need to lock into to make sure that when we come out, when we're on the road, we are as best as we could be, and let's use our energy for that.
All right, so you're suggesting, Laverne, that there's more of a chance for Israel and Hamas to find peace than for the two Valley Boys to come together as what? Yeah?
I am absolutely not saying that.
Oh, okay.
I am not saying that. All I'm just saying is this is where we are right now. This is where we are right now. And because of that, now, if during the year something happens and they say, you know what, we can work this out. We absolutely can find a middle ground. Great. But right now, and I'm not privy to any inside information. I'm just going based on what I've read, what I've heard in news and all of that. I'm just saying it does not seem to be a likely scenario right now.
Okay. Based on the performances, I think that's the most we need to talk about the Valley Boys. We spend more than enough time talking about them today. But hey, congratulations to one family. They pulled off a double victory.
Yeah.
Boxing Day and New Year's. And we're going to get into New Year's and what you thought of that order in a bit. Let me give you the numbers so you can join the conversation, folks. 323-6232. 325-4316, 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. Caller, before we get to you, just want to say this. Okay, so similar to you, I think I might have seen a little more of it than you with New Year's, but I did see Saxons, I did see Roots, I did see One Family, I did see Genesis. And
I saw some of them. I didn't see Roots.
All right, so before we get to the caller, who did you think, based on what you saw, won the parade?
I absolutely agreed with the results.
Oh, really? Are you just saying that?
No. I agreed with the results. I really did.
Wow. Okay.
What I saw in my mind, I knew it would be between One Family and Saxons, to my mind.
Yeah. All right. So
now,
let me tell you what.
Let me just say, I didn't watch Roots, so I cannot include that. because I did not watch them, right? So I'm just going based on what I saw. Before we have any avid rabbit fans calling and whatever, I'm saying this already. But based on what I watched up to that point, I thought to myself, either Saxons could take it or one family. But I did give a little um, bit more of an edge to one family.
Interesting.
Now, let
Okay.
me also say this. I have certain biases, right? So that's why I gave them an edge.
Interesting. All right. So watching it, I noticed the similarities between Saxons and One Family, but I've never said this in my life. I really thought Saxons had it, or Roots. I thought it was between Saxons and Roots, and I thought One Family had too much cloth. But anyway, I knew it was between the three of them. But if you'd said Saxons won, I would have said, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. The group is huge. The group is huge, and I think they need to do something about that.
Yeah.
It's
yes.
really
yes, Dwight.
too big. It's just crazy.
It's too much. It honestly is. Like, why am I still watching Junkanoo at 9 o'clock in the morning?
Man, I mean, you're talking about everything, or you're talking about Saxons alone?
I'm talking about everything.
Oh, everything. I'm talking Saxons
9 a.m. in the morning.
Well, there's some pros and cons. There's some pros and cons to it. But let's get to the calls, and then I got some other things to say about some other groups who.
But congratulations again, because we kind of, we talked about everything. But congratulations again to One Family.
Certainly.
Yeah.
One Family, congratulations. All right, let's hear from the callers, and we'll get you text messages. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Doing well.
Good morning.
And welcome back. I absolutely disagree with Laverne. You can't take people who just watch it on television seriously. That's someone who has endured the cold and the draft, who actually sit on the benches, who booty got cramps just sitting down there waiting with all the delays. I can tell you firsthand that One Family won the parade. Saxon, Boxing Day was trash, but I wouldn't say trash. It wasn't too well. And
you're talking about New Year's?
I'm talking about Boxing Day and New Year's. I enjoyed the cold and the draft, and I watched it firsthand. And One Family won. But persons who sit home and watch it, it's just like you watching someone eat, and they're telling you, and you watching them eat, and the person's watching you telling how great the food is. It's a different experience. But
okay.
But caller, you said you disagreed with me, but I said that I thought that they
no.
They should have
What
won.
I disagreed about. Hold on. What I disagreed about is bodies are better separate than together.
I didn't say that they were.
I agree with Dwight that that's like when churches get mad with the pastor, they go start their own church and one suffer. I think they need divorce, and I think they should. For them to do better than what they're doing now, they need to get back together, bury the hatchet, put away these ego and trying to this pissing contest. And I want the Valleys to get back together so John Canoe could be better. As you saw, they're making no sense. And it's coming from someone who loved John Canoe, not just biases towards one group. I love John Canoe as a whole. And this is not good for John Canoe, in my opinion.
Right.
And that's my
let me just be clear, caller. I'm not saying that I don't want them together. I'm just saying that right now that does not seem like an option. It does not appear to be, like either side doesn't seem to be a give. So I'm saying if this is what it is and nobody's willing to bend, and that's not coming.
After getting beaten Boxing Day, there's only so much beating you can take and to realize that the members
that this isn't making sense.
No. The leaders probably may have they may be acting whatever, but I think the members, the persons who actually do a lot of the work, they need to sit down, those members and the leaders, and say, hold on, buddy. If you know anything about Jungle, know how much investment, private investment, and their own going to people. I know people who borrow money from the bank, $5,000, $10,000, and they put themselves in debt because they love Jungle. Those are the people. Because the people to the top, they're okay, but the people who really, the majority, They need to sit down, the leaders, and say, hold on, this ain't making no sense. We doing this because we love Junkanoo. We do this for bragging rights. We don't get paid for this. We invest in this, and you all need to get it together. Those are the people who need to sit down and call the leaders in and to bring the Valley Boys back together. Because
do you think that the people that they would have that type of influence over the leader?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll hang up
They
and
say,
listen.
thank you so much, caller. If they say, hey, we're done with this crap, you two, you go wherever. You two get out of here to the leaders,
Right.
perhaps, and or whoever, you five. We're coming back together, and if you have a problem with it, too bad. I believe that definitely could happen.
Okay.
We got another call. Yeah. Good morning, caller. You're live on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Laverne, and Happy New Year.
Good morning.
to both of
Happy
you.
New Year.
Happy New Year.
Dwight, it's great to have your voice back on the radio, and as you already did, Chester Robards, you did an excellent job in Dwight's absence. I think the nation really, well, a lot of us, we really love your voice on the show. Dwight, perhaps you need to give Chester a show if he's interested, because his viewpoints are so much on point, and the way and his style of producing of hosting his show is really good and enjoyable. So congratulations to him as well. My views on the Junkanoo. Dwight, after 20 years of not going out to Bay Street to watch Junkanoo, but on this occasion, having the opportunity to watch both boxing and the New Year's parades live and in person, I can tell you unequivocally that the One Family group did such an exceptional job that when you see the music and the drums beat and the crowd moved along with the group, followed the group down the street, that spoke volumes. The music was really, really exciting, and there's no way many of us thought that One Family should not have won both of the parades. My view is One Family actually, when the music struck up, being a music maker and always have been a music maker, it reminds me of the last time the music makers were supposed to win a parade and they didn't, and that was the point where I got turned off about 15 years ago because it was an obvious cheat. They should have won that parade hands down. But anyway, we're not going to muddy the water here. I think that they did an exceptional job. They talk about a labor of love, but it's more than that. It's a labor of finances, a labor of sacrifice, a labor of time away from the family. And I think a lot of our people do not appreciate that all of these are sacrifices that these guys make to make the national parade what it is. As far as Valley Boys is concerned, I too believe that it could be a blessing and a curse. The blessing would be that, hey, they're now separated in two different groups and they can rebuild, start not a new party per se because they're all practitioners, but they could actually start a new movement, change the name, and start a new group. As far as the curses, the blessing is concerned, there's also the benefit that the two of them could come back together, bury the hatchet, let the egos flow, and work fluently as a unit instead of two separate entities. That's also a possibility. Again, it depends on the membership of both of these groups to convince their leaders that this is the right thing to do, or else, for a little while left to come, there will be this division where both parties are going to, both groupings are going to suffer the rebuilding stages until someone perfects their performance, perfects their music, perfects their image for them to get back to the point to winning. So that is my views on that. My last point, okay. Dwight, and sorry for being so long, especially on this New Year's. I just want to make one clear note to the central bank. I know I'm going off topic here, but they have to do something with these banks concerning people and their checks. You know, you have a check that is drawn on a particular bank and the check is in your name. There should be a way where the person could go into that bank where the check is drawn upon with their identifications and stuff and cash these people checks. There are people who have, over the Christmas, had checks in their hands bearing their names from companies. and the person could not go to the bank where the check is drawn and cash their checks over the counter. It is totally ridiculous. I cannot understand why the government allows this. They cannot do it in their country. Why is it that it's happening here in the Bahamas? They have to fix this problem. It's vexing. Thanks for taking my call this morning.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate all that. Callers, we'll get to you in a second. Are you saying that doesn't happen at the Bahamian banks? I'm not sure if that's accurate, but I haven't seen a check in a long time. But yeah. Okay. I'm sure they had their very good reasons for it, unfortunately.
I don't know if it's a very good reason, Dwight, but we're not on that topic right now.
No, not today. That'll take us. That'll take over the show. All right. So I do want to go back to a point a previous caller made that if you're watching it at home, it's not going to be the same experience as all, and you will not see what people were there in person see, and that is a very valid point. There, maybe there should be a TV prize. No, just kidding.
Absolutely.
Maybe there should. Maybe you look good on TV. You weren't necessarily the best.
Yeah. Right. There's certain nuances that we won't pick up, those of us who are viewing from the comforts of our favorite television watching place, right?
Yeah.
And so we have to take that into account for sure.
All right. So I want to get to these calls, but before we do, just want to put this in your head. I'll give you my views on this in a bit. But Prodigal Sons and music makers and colors, they're three groups. They have two different problems.
Okay.
But something has to be done. Colors is a great group, and they're always winning the B division.
Right.
And the music makers and Prodigal Sons have lots of issues in the A division. But and I don't know if you heard the interview with the Prodigal Sons on New Year's, and they've got a lot of internal issues. At some point, we're going to have to say to Prodigal Sons and music makers, hey, maybe the two of you should join up, or consider the B division, because colors really need some competition. Because what is it just for fun now for everybody in the B division? Because colors wins every time, and the other groups just like fighting for second and third, or not even fighting; they're just there. Is that what the B division is? I'm sure
those other groups who compete in the B division will disagree with you.
Oh, okay. Well, something we need to spice things up in the B division, and
how can you?
Let's strongly recommend that Prodigal Sons and music makers. I know there's a lot of tradition and pride, but consider going to the B division for the love of God.
The B division, it's one of the things is you're a certain size, right?
Oh, they'll be fine.
So,
especially Prodigal Sons, they'll be fine. They'll more than meet the criteria. But if you have different views on that, text us, tweet us, call in. Let's hear what you have to say. I want to take these calls. Caller, good morning. What say you?
Good morning, Dwight. Happy New Year. Nice to see you back, man.
Thank you very much. Happy New Year.
And your host, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Yes, ma'am. I went on Boxing Day, and I watched New Year's. Boxing Day was really good. I think Roots did a wonderful job. They should have placed at least third, based on what I saw, because Saxons really was really, really flat. They really should have gotten like maybe 6. That's how bad it was. But anyhow, that's my opinion.
That's Boxing Day. That's Boxing Day.
But the issue with the Valley,
that was for Boxing Day or for New Year's?
That was Boxing Day. They came out there. I mean, I don't know where the costumes came from. They must have some costumes from last year.
What did you think about yesterday? Were you out there for New Year's yesterday?
No, New Year's. I watched it, and they really bounced back real good New Year's. And I watched on the TV, so I was able to still judge properly from the TV because I had one family winning Boxing Day and New Year's. Congratulations to them. The issue with the Valley, they need to become one family, so to speak. They really need to get their act together, man. Either they talk with senior persons to get it sorted out and try work it out, or the problem they were saying that they have this election issue that could easily be solved by the courts. They could just the court could decide on the election date, and then that could kill that. But this thing with the two names, I don't care if either one will just move on and change their name and move forward. That'll be good. But the two names, none of them is gonna win this junk canoe. None. And that gives the Saxons and the others the opportunity. I mean, that's my opinion. But if the family ain't together, what ain't sticking together, ain't nothing gonna happen. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you very much. We got another call. Let's take that call, and then we'll get to your text messages. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. Happy New Year.
Same to you. Happy New Year.
Good morning, Lorraine, the lady in the north.
Good morning. How are you? Happy New Year.
I'm always fine, honey. Let me tell you something, Dwight. For the first time in history of John Canoe, I've been to John Canoe Boxing Day in the US and last year. There's a reason why I do that. You see, because when I do things, I take it seriously. John Canoe is the only thing to me keeping this country together. Not the church, not the politicians, not the so-called civil and the liberal groups. When my last son rushed Boxing Day with this afternoon, I refused to help him. Every time I give him money, he keeps taking the money, buying stuff. There's a reason why I don't want my children to see John Canoe. You spend a lot of money and you don't get nothing back. And like I spoke to Brian, I spoke to Foster, everybody who I knew had a position in the body. I say, for the sake of John Canoe, man, call a meeting and who the chairman, who running the group. It should be a 3-year cycle. When I was chairman of the South and Backline and running that front line, when one family leave at 1992, we didn't have no problem because we organized. We had a bunch of younger guys who was willing to step up. You had the multi-task. You see, talking to me is, and see, I might want, of course, a little bit. I can try to take the time and speak properly and speak slow. Mr. Douglas Hanna, John Canoe is not the police force, eh? John Canoe is not the police force. See, when you come to John Canoe, doctors, lawyers, judges, we all got the same say. In the body, above the body. And they can't be talking to big man or woman in any kind of how. Because those days and finish. With the only people being scared, no politicians being scared, none of you. Because you're letting this down. Because I'm saying, Dwight, like me and Jeffrey Delaware, Cleveland, and all the regular callers and talk shows, we are going to network this year, JNN. We going to do everything we watch in the government. We can do it. We can write the United Nations. We can write the King. We can write the American Embassy. We can write all the embassies. You see, because right now, like I keep saying, my children and grandchildren cannot buy a land and island of Newport, but it's very fun.
Okay.
The first thing we want brave neighbors to do is repeal the land and not back. Stop giving me
citizenship. This is you're all over the place this morning, but I hear you. A lot of frustration. Well, it's going to be an interesting year, right? Wow. Thank you for the call today. Wow. All right. Let's read these messages. We're talking about junk canoe this morning, folks, on this first show. First show for the that's everything mixed up. I mean, it's really serious when you can't enjoy junk canoe because of all the other issues in the country. Boy, this person says here, all the very best to you both for 2026. Didn't one family come from the Saxons? So what? Davis and his crew should just go to one family. Who Davis? Oh, go to one family organizers and ask them how they did it. Well, what they didn't do was take the name.
Right.
Right. They started something else. So that's
they didn't.
One thing.
So you're saying they didn't become the Saxons All-Stars?
Or you're right. Mm-hmm. The Way Forward Saxons. No. Yeah. So that's one thing, and they don't have to ask anybody about that. They could just see it. This person says here, both Valley Boys were really good on Boxing Day. Did I miss something? Mm-hmm. Well, we're talking about New Year's. And they both struggled. It seems. This one says, yes, Dwight, Russia and Ukraine will be at peace before there's peace in the Valley. Oh, no.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man.
That's unfortunate.
Well, that's really bad.
Hopefully that's not someone in either group. Because if that's you know what I mean?
Right.
If that's the thought
somebody from the inside, that's
side. Scary. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This one says the Valley's just like the F&M. If they don't join their factions, the dog will eat their lunch at the election. Oh, okay.
Wow.
Okay. Someone says some of us get off work at 8 a.m. Also, some of us have children that need to sleep at night. So junk canoe 9 a.m. is perfect. Okay. No, I mean, there really was some benefits to it. And I could see people were coming off the ship and getting into it. So it might be a good thing. All right, let's go to the news. We'll pick this up on the other side. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Stole behind her in the frozen boots, and I touched her on the sleeve. She didn't recognize the face at first, but then her eyes flew open wide.
Welcome back to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us 422-4796. Standard text rate supplied. And now at 8:15, it is time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams. 2026 off to a cool start for most of the country today. We've got cool and dry conditions influenced by weak high pressure. That's going to continue to blanket most of the country, promoting light to gentle winds and mostly stable conditions. Meanwhile, a lingering frontal boundary just south of the archipelago will continue to produce some shower activity, along with a few possible offshore thunderstorms near the southern islands. So the winds are going to remain light to moderate as weak high pressure continues to dominate the area. Another cold front is expected to approach the northern Bahamas by late Sunday. That's going to cause breezes to increase slightly, especially across the northern and northwest Bahamas. That's going to bring periods of light showers and cloudiness. Prefrontal troughing ahead of that front is going to lead to a brief increase in showers and isolated thunderstorms for the southeastern islands by Sunday evening as well. So we've been seeing some fog in the early morning hours. That will likely continue for a couple of days. Your forecast for today, though, for the extreme northern islands, partly sunny, becoming partly cloudy later today, less than a 10% chance of showers. Less than a 10% chance of showers for most of the country, including the northwest and central Bahamas. A 10 to 20% chance of showers for the southeastern islands, isolated thunderstorms as well. Partly cloudy conditions for the southeastern islands. For the rest of the country, the northwest and central islands, looking at a mix of sun and clouds today, becoming between mostly cloudy to mostly fair, depending on where you are in the northwest or southeast Bahamas, respectively. Temperatures today, we're going to be seeing lots of variance there. For the extreme northern islands, like Grand Bahama, highs only in the low 70s, around 73 Fahrenheit, 23 Celsius. But most of the country will see highs in the mid-70s, around 75, 76 Fahrenheit, 24 Celsius. A bit warmer for the southeastern islands, highs around 80, 81 Fahrenheit, 27 Celsius. Lows at night, also going to see that wide range of temperatures in the extreme northern islands. Lows in the mid to upper 50s, around 57 Fahrenheit, 14 Celsius for Abaco and Grand Bahama. Most of us will see lows in the low 60s, around 61, 62 Fahrenheit, 16 Celsius, and the mid 60s for the southeast Bahamas, around 66 Fahrenheit, 19 Celsius. In your extended outlook for the first weekend of 2026, Saturday, tomorrow, variably cloudy. Again, higher chance of showers for the southeastern Bahamas. Everywhere else, less than a 10% chance of showers. Sunday, partly cloudy to cloudy. A 20 to 30% chance of scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms for the southeastern islands. By Monday, most people going back to work on Monday, we've got a partly cloudy to cloudy conditions for the northern half of the country, a mix of sun and clouds for the rest of the nation, and a slightly elevated chance of showers for the northern half of the country as well into Tuesday. That's your Morning Blend weather check, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams. If you're looking to paint, your local Sherwin-Williams store has top quality paints, expert advice, and everyday discounts to help you save only at Sherwin-Williams. And it's time for traffic, brought to you by RBC. With RBC, your ideas happen here. In your real-time traffic, definitely not what you are normally used to at this hour. A lot of people not working today, or working from home perhaps, but that will likely change next week, so don't get used to it, of course. But for today, a relatively smooth commute, just a few hot spots to tell you about. We're seeing some slow-moving traffic on Gladstone Road, especially north of Munnings Road on the way to John F. Kennedy Drive, Bahama Boulevard, if you're heading northbound. And seeing a bit of congestion on the John F. Kennedy Drive side near Theodora Lane. And some slow-moving traffic in that area in general. Elsewhere, we've got Blue Hill Road looking busy for you both directions near Carmichael. Between Carmichael and Soldier, you're going to see that north and southbound. And especially as you get closer to the roundabout with Independence Drive, you can see that long line ahead of you. Also on the southbound side, if you're approaching near Town Center Mall, you'll notice that as well. Soldier Road, both directions, east and west of the intersection with East Street, seeing some slow-moving traffic. And along Prince Charles Drive at the major intersections, you'll see some slow-moving traffic at this hour. That's your real-time traffic. And your Morning Blend traffic alert, also brought to you by Anyway Insurance. Agents and brokers, whether you're on the road or planning your next move, they've got you covered. Visit anywayinsurance.com for an instant motor quote or stop by your nearest branch today.
Looking for the perfect Sunday outing? The National Art Gallery of the Bahamas is now open and free to all Bahamian citizens and residents. Spend the day admiring the evolution of Bahamian art. Soak in the natural beauty of our art park and take a little piece of culture home with you by browsing our gift shop. Whether you're an art lover or just curious, we've got something here for everyone. Bring your family, your partner, or your friends and let the art inspire you this Sunday and beyond. The National Art Gallery of the Bahamas, our home for Bahamian art.
At Cleveland Clinic, care is everything. So when your primary purpose is to care for the world, you'd start with your community until you're accessible anywhere. You make complexities your specialties and put compassion before anything else, all to redefine what's possible. For everyone, everywhere. For every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic.
In the world of business, technology is not a choice, it's a necessity. And for businesses that demand excellence, there's only one choice for unparalleled support and cutting-edge technology. Custom Computers. You have challenges and we have solutions. Computing, networking, storage, and printing for enterprises large and small, aligned with premium brands like HP, Microsoft, Konica Minolta, and more. Get tech done the right way with Custom Computers. Call the Know-How team at 396-1101.
Mom, the Christmas cookies are ready. We leave them right here under the tree for
Santa or for CIBC Caribbean. 'Tis the season for dreams to come true. Whether it's a house, land, vehicle, or upgrading your home, CIBC Caribbean can support your dreams with the financing you need. Enjoy incredible cashback deals with mortgages and land loans. Plus, your approved loan gives you a chance to win up to US $5,000. Apply now at www.cibccaribbean.com/sweeten the season. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Erin Green, wishing you and your family happiness, peace, and mangoes this holiday season and throughout the new year from Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM.
Conversation drags, happiness, but neither one knew how. She said she married her an architect, kept her warm and safe and dry. She would have liked to say she loved the man, but she didn't like to lie. I said the years had been a friend to her, and that her eyes were still as blue. But in those eyes I wasn't sure if I saw doubt or gratitude. She said she saw me in the record store, and that I must be doing well. I said the audience was heavenly, but the traveling was hell. We drank a toast to innocence, we drank a toast to now. Tried to reach beyond the emptiness, but neither one knew how.
We are back with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner. Our first show for 2026. The Friday after a holiday is going to be a challenging day for everybody, right? Oh man, whose idea was this? But at least Saturday's almost here, folks. Almost here. Laverne, we're talking about Junkanoo and the results from the New Year's parade, getting a reaction to it all. And I want to hear from you. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. We'll get to your text messages in just a bit. Continue to call in. You mentioned it, Laverne, that it's too long, the whole thing. There's an article in the Tribune today about that. Youth, Sports, and Culture Minister Mary Bolek saying the era of the 12-hour Junkanoo parade must end.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Yeah, let's get your reaction to that as well. Too long. What time did it end yesterday? About what? That was after 10, right?
It was after 10.
But it started after 2. And that was only for the Bay Street portion. They clearly didn't do 2 or 3 laps. No.
No way.
No. So that doesn't make sense there. So it should just be 1 Bay Street, 1 Shirley Street, end of story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe, I know this sounds crazy, but if you have 3,000 people, that are going to be on the road. I'm not talking about those who help with costumes or build costumes and maybe they don't rush their own cost. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about those people. If you have 3,000 people, is there any in your group that's going to be on the road? Is there any?
You talk about the Saxons, yeah. Just
listen,
saying.
I'm not calling anybody names. I'm just saying.
They had
if you have
9,000 people yesterday morning.
Okay, so is it conceivable for you to split and say 1,500 will rush Boxing Day and the next 1,500 will rush New Year's? Is that a possibility? Can you do that within the group?
You just solved the Valley Boys problem. One of y'all take Boxing Day and the other one take New Year's.
And still be the Valley.
Still be the Valley.
And still be one Valley.
Laverne, you're a genius. You're a genius. We did it. We did it, folks. We did it. And Saxons, you can do Saxons 1 and Saxons 2.
Right. And you don't have, no. It's still.
Saxons Boxing.
You don't have to say.
Right.
You don't have to. See, we get into problems with labels. We don't have to say Saxons 1, Saxons 2, Saxons Boxing Day, Saxon whatever. We can just say this is Dwight Showtime.
Okay.
And for Dwight Showtime, these people, this group here of the Showtime, these 1,500, we're focusing all of our energy on Boxing Day.
All right, so
and then the other 1,500, you're focusing the energy on New Year's.
So I don't want to be that person, but I just want to tell you how this is going to go, though. It's a brilliant idea. I love it, but you know what's going to happen. So for some reason, one of those groups going to lose Boxing Day twice, and they're going to win New Year's twice. And then the people from boxing will say, you know what? I don't want to be with these. I go into the New Year's once. And
no. You
won't be allowed?
How do you? No. How do you do that? You could do a rotation. It doesn't mean that those who did Boxing Day always have to do Boxing Day.
I see. But then they'll start. There might be a pattern, like this group always wins and that one always comes third. So we don't want to be with.
That's why you do the rotation.
That's
so
what I'm saying. Every time.
Right.
Well, you don't ever win when it's this rotation. But anyway, we won't get ahead of ourselves. But that is a great idea, and we can solve two big problems there.
And then and then the parade won't have to be as long, because I'm going to tell you something. Boxing Day, we fell asleep, right, watching it. There's a particular group that was on the road. We fell asleep. We woke up. They were still on the road. My daughter was like, Mommy, is this the same group? I said, hold on, because we both fell asleep. And I'm looking and I'm saying, this is the same group. And I didn't have like a 5-minute nap.
That happened to me on New Year's. And if you want me to tell you which group it was, I mean, I gave hints already.
You full out said. You full out.
Yeah. I think I went to the bathroom and I came back and said, because, it was a confusing morning. I saw about 200 popes, and they weren't all with the same group, because everybody had the same theme. And I'm like, this is more popes than they've had in the Vatican. I don't know. But anyway, so I was like, wait, is this the same group? Why would all these popes? This can't, what's happening? It was very confusing. Very confusing. But yeah, some of these groups are too big. And again, I want to go back to what I said about the other two groups, the Prodigal Sons and Music Makers. When are we gonna? I think it's time for us to say, hey, no. Let's go to B, create some drama finally in the B category, or the two of you merge and stop this nonsense. No, nobody wants to.
I don't think that's going to happen.
I think we need to make it happen.
I don't think that's going to happen. How do you do that?
There are B groups and fun groups who are doing more impressive performances sometimes. It's kind of scary and very sad. And I don't think it needs to be this way. And like I've been saying, there needs to be some more drama in B. I'm pretty sure Colors would welcome the competition. Pretty sure they would love to finally not know for sure that they're going to win. I don't even think it's about winning anymore for them. But it would be great for the audience, the people spending good money, to see that there's more to Junkanoo than just the A category. Let's take some calls and we'll get to your text messages. Caller, good morning. What say you on all of this stuff?
This is Strachan.
Good morning.
Happy New Year to both you and your lady guest there.
Good morning.
Suggestion to breaking down this Junkanoo thing. Instead of letting eight A groups come straight down Bay Street, allow 4 to start on Bay Street and 4 to start on Shirley Street. The parade then becomes a train track going around. Because if you're waiting, you pick number 8. You're waiting to get on to Rawson Square. The first group comes out at 2. What time you expect to get to Rawson Square to get onto Shirley Street? So you have 4. So the government don't say, well, this crew go on Shirley Street, this crew go on Bay Street. What you do is you pick where you go. Just how you pick your number, picking to come out, you'll have 1A for Shirley Street, 1B for Bay Street. And whichever you pick, that's where you start. That's where you are sure that all the groups will do 2 laps. You'll have to go. Okay. Once you start on Shirley Street, you have to go on Bay Street, and you then have a train track that the parade will keep going around. And
that's interesting.
And let me comment on this. New Year's, do you realize before the way forward Wally Boys came out, they had 3 B groups and a fun group thing came out. So that closing the gap a little instead of just sitting there lodging. But I want to know, do y'all have right on hand the scores for the parade on New Year's? Because one group got penalized 63 points. 63 points. And you had groups was winning, beating groups by 5 points and 6 points. So imagine if they had their score with the points that they was deducted. They would have slaughtered that parade.
I heard some of the penalties, but I don't deductions, but I don't recall it being that large. Large?
The way forward was penalized 63 points.
Okay.
Now, what I was heard was that they measured the height of the wires, they measured the road, and after they struck the costume and everything, they put up some additional wires, maybe to put up some more lights. So their lead costume got caught up in the wires. And that killed them right there. They already had the parade locked. They had the parade beat. But just that hold up of maybe 35, 40 minutes trying to clear this costume through this wire. They hold up the whole parade, so they got a lot of points deducted. Now, I don't know if they take off points by the minute or by every 5 minutes. They take off 2 points. Like, I don't know how they do it. But they had the parade hold up for almost half an hour to 40 minutes.
Well, that's not good.
No.
But yeah.
So I guess because of the size of the costume that cost them. But, I mean, if you can get 63 points deducted and the overall group, if you are that, but I don't know. But they did say it was a no disqualification parade. That was another mix-up thing. You know, but I could continue listening because I know some jungle people now calling. And let's see how we work this out.
Interesting. Thank you very much. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. So if that is correct, what do you mean with the world famous, not the way forward ones? Right? Yeah.
Sure.
And then
at this point, I'm not sure because it was painful listening to the results, and sometimes it wasn't a distinction. So
yeah,
I do remember the 63. I do remember the 63 deduction, but I can't remember because, like I said, sometimes it was just Valley Boys, and then sometimes it was Way Forward and or the world famous. So
what I'm looking at here, world famous who came fourth, they got 533. If it was them and a 63-point deduction, well, 63 plus 533 would put them at 596, which is higher than what One Family got.
Right.
Who had 594. So are we?
Was it that? I don't know.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's.
I don't know if it was that, but I know that there was because I thought that was like, and that number stood out to me when I was listening because it's like, what? 63. What did you do or not do that you would lose 63 points, right? So
they attempted to take out the power grid. I don't know, but okay. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, you're right. The way the scores are announced is getting very confusing and a bit much. Yeah,
and it doesn't lend to the listening public and those who are an active part of the group's confidence.
Yeah, perhaps that's not a good idea to read the scores out. Just, like when you do it in a marathon, post the scores on a wall or something, or post it electronically all the time.
Or if you're going to read it, because that seems to be a part of, the whole entire Junkanoo thing, type it out in large font, double space, make it clear, read it over so that whoever's going to announce it, they fully understand. So we can say, it was this an I or a T. We don't have to do that. We just type it out large font, and then we can read it out clearly. In addition to posting it.
Yeah. There's definitely got to be a better way, without a doubt. All right, we've got a whole lot of your text messages. Let's get to these. Continue to text us, 422-4796. You can continue to call us as well. This person says here, wow. Yes, Saxon's got 6th in overall performance, which is last, after winning Shirley Street performance. Overall choreograph and a 2nd in overall music. As Bahamians in 2026, we need to become more honest and operate with more integrity. There's no way the Saxons came 6th in overall performance. The other results contradicted. Yeah, there's a lot of discrepancy, I guess. Dwight and Laverne leave Music Makers and Prodigal Sons so the Valley Boys have someone to beat. Wow.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, boy. Well, again, if they take up our idea and do Boxing Day and do New Year's Day, one group does that, one does it. They'll be good. They'll be good. Perhaps. This person says here, I don't think there needs to be one Valley Boys group. A group is a group. Each group has designers, builders, music, and dance. Each of these elements can be managed and with quality and excellence no matter what name is on the group. I do think the way forward needs to find a different name. They cannot leave the group, and clearly they left and decide they're taking the name with them. Okay. Another one says here, I'm a big-time One Family fan now and wishing them a prosperous new year to all men. A big One Family fan now? Okay.
Everybody loves a winner.
Wow.
Everybody loves a winner, Dwight. Isn't that what they do? Isn't that the same thing that happens with football? Or
except
basketball?
for the Dolphins.
No, Dolphin fans are always Dolphin fans. Right?
Yeah.
So but I'm just saying,
you don't need to be a winner there.
Right. The team wins, and then all of a sudden, everybody's coming out talking about this team.
Well,
it's like, I've known you for 20 years. I've never heard you mention. All of a sudden.
Wow.
So he's saying he is a fan now. So One Family, you got to keep it up.
There you go. This person says here, did y'all get the app fixed for 2026? Thank you for that text. Thank you. The app is again working for Apple users. We're still Android, your time is coming. This is your year. Your year is going to be sorted out. We promise you.
Whatever.
No, Laverne, we need you to be supportive here. Please.
I don't know what I'm supporting because I don't know how hard, based on your comments about us Android users, publicly and privately, I don't know how hard you're working.
Privately.
I don't know how hard you're working to make sure that we can access the app.
Wow, I'm hurt, Laverne. This is the first insult.
Sometimes the truth hurts. Sometimes the truth hurts, Dwight.
It's just day 2 of the year, and you already cut me to the core. I promise you, my neck is on the chopping board, that you will be sorted out forthwith, as they say, shortly. Yes?
Okay.
I am not a politician. You can trust me. Got it?
Okay.
All right. Let's get back to Juggalo. This person says, I was impressed with Genesis and thought that they would have had a better showing in the result of the New Year's parade, and I think that parade had a nice flow. How did Genesis do? I lost the... has Genesis ever won? I mean, I have some good Genesis friends that are going to come for me. But have they ever won, Laverne? You call them? Oh, well, they're already messaging me.
I'm not sure. Okay, they're letting you know.
No, they didn't like what I said, I'm sure. Their time will come, I'm sure. They came 5th. The world famous with the 63 points deducted did better than they did. Oh, boy. Wow. Yeah, they're coming for me. They're telling me. Yeah, okay. Hey, one day, Genesis, you keep going. You keep war hawking. You keep hawking up yourself. You'll get there. We'll get there.
That doesn't even sound right. Keep
That's
talking.
what they say. That's what they say. Hawk up yourself. Call in and let Laverne know. That's what they say. Hawk up yourself. It's very bizarre, but that's what they say.
Okay.
Caller, am I wrong? That's what they say, right? Are you there, caller?
Hey, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Happy New Year to you and your
Same to
guests
you.
and
Same to
Guardian
you.
Radio and
Happy New Year to you as well.
and the morning Glenn and all of it. Very entertaining program as always.
Thank you.
I want to say a special Happy New Year to the garbage collectors who are out on the street cleaning up. Also to those persons who have to go to work today. You know, that's one day in the week. So I salute them one day after the holiday and back. And also to the students who took the time out at least a minute or two to look up to some schoolwork because Monday is back to school.
Right. Don't get used to the lighter traffic today. Monday will be a nightmare.
You can keep all the cold.
Oh, you too? Okay. All right. I need at least till the end of February. Come on. It used to be cool till my birthday in April. I don't know what's going on in the world, but now it's.
No, I don't like the heat. I like it medium. I don't like it hot. I don't like it cold. I like it medium.
This is medium.
I am you. I like it medium as well. I don't like it hot. I don't like it cold.
This is medium, Laverne. Yes, I know it's going to be 50-something tonight for Freeport. Okay, but for the rest of us, it's going to be 60-something, and this is medium.
Stay good here. Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot. All right, more messages. The Genesis people are coming for me. Oh, boy. This person says here, I'm listening to the app. Not again. So I'm not sure if there's a delay. I just want to reiterate that teachers were protesting. Am I reading an old text? Oh, boy. Okay, that is an old text. Wow, how did that happen? Okay, here we go. Words again and completely meaningless. The statement by the minister was only to distance himself from the continued undesirable results. People have been calling for a shortened parade for over a decade. What has anyone done about it? Nothing, because this is Junkanoo. They will be using that excuse for the next 100 years. Boredom, gaps, unfinished costumes, route obstructions. The explanation for everything is this is just Junkanoo. Oh, boy. Well, as we said, you got to limit these groups. There is a size. You have to have a minimum size to be in the A category, but there's no maximum limit. And that doesn't make any sense. That's why, as we said earlier, the Saxons had 10,000 people. It doesn't make any sense at all. And you could go into a deep sleep and wake up, and you'll just be seeing the middle of the Saxons. And then go back to another sleep, and then you'll catch the last 100 people at the end.
Right. You don't have to limit how many people can be in the group. You just need to limit how many people can be in the parade from the group.
Absolutely. Something has to be done. You all should be applauding the prodigal sons for making it out on Bay, given their history. Oh, yeah, we really do. And it was very
fair
heartbreaking.
Point.
I'm not saying they shouldn't. I'm just saying perhaps they should consider a different category. The interview with Zed and Les, he seemed very sad, the leader of the prodigal sons, saying that, I'm paraphrasing, but basically because they didn't get on till 9 o'clock or something. People had to go. They had things to do. And they were just, some people didn't show up.
Dwight, honestly, like even for me as a viewer sitting home, that's why I don't know about Ruth's performance.
Because it came on at 12 o'clock?
Because at that point, I was like, I gotta go.
Well,
it's a holiday, but I had things to do.
Well, you were a viewer. Can you imagine if you were in the group?
Okay.
Well, that's what happened to Prodigal Sons. So that's very sad.
And they probably were discouraged because they're looking like. Here's the thing: you can't, as a group, say, "Well, our number is number 6, so we're not coming out until 7 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
So you are essentially prepping, doing whatever out there, waiting until it's your turn. Isn't like you're like, okay, we leaving the shack now. It's 7 o'clock. You should be there by 7:30.
Yeah, no, it's rough. It's rough.
Yeah.
There's gotta be a better way, right? Gotta be a better way. This person says here oh no, they're saying it's the other Valley Boys. Well, that wouldn't have made much of a difference for them. The other Valley Boys were penalized 63 points. Okay, well, they still would have won.
That's the way forward.
Yes.
So if the way forward, those 63 points, what was their score?
446.
Okay, so we add that to the 63. How's our math? That would take them to what, 509?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which would have landed them where?
Still behind the world famous.
I didn't ask. I'm just asking you position. You are aiding to this feud, Dwight.
They would have been six.
They
would have been six. They still would have been six behind Genesis.
Okay.
So it wouldn't have made a difference. Okay. But that's an interesting point that somebody lost that many points. Mm-hmm. This person says here, there's been a movement within both sides of the Valley Boys to bring resolution in 2026. Fingers crossed. Okay. That is news to us, but that's good. That's good. This person says their prodigal sons need to go back home and make up with his daddy. Oh dear. That's harsh. It's kind of harsh. It's a new year, folks. You should have a new attitude. We're rooting for them. But I think, again, perhaps the B category, or at least team up with the music makers. They could be the musical sons, or the prodigal makers. I don't know. This person says here, as a Bahamian, I truly congratulate one family for the determination and themes for both parades. New Year's Day, I woke to the music and I left, and I felt as a Saxon even more proud to be a Bahamian. What? They had my pulse regularized. The Valley Boys, or whoever they were and named, depressed me, but I sympathized with 1958. Thanks, Junkanoo, for keeping it together in the family. Great start for the new year. Okay. Mm-hmm. This person says here, I love the idea for one group to start on Bay Street and another to start on Shirley Street. Okay, let's hear from other Junkanoos about that. What do you think about that? Would that help? Would that make a difference? What do you think? Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Dwight. How you doing?
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, Dwight, quick question. Do the scores for the Boxing Day, did they make them official as yet? Because everything is be unofficial.
That's a good question. I don't know. I can check.
Yeah, same thing with New Year's as well, because that is unofficial as well. Because I remember sometime back, I think, when the Saxon won first, and then when the official results came out, they put the Saxon down in third. So it'd be very interesting to find out whether if those scores that already came out are official. That'd be a great help. And another question: Did the senior groups did 2 laps on Bay Street?
I don't think so. Not on New Year's. They pretty much wrapped up almost 11 o'clock.
Because I think they disenfranchising those families that really can't really get out early that morning. Probably want to come out around like 6, 7 o'clock to watch the second lap.
Oh wow!
So we could still be here today?
I don't have a problem with that because we was doing it for all of those years. Since this new group take over, we only doing 1 lap now. I don't understand that.
Well, it's getting longer, as we said. The size of the groups is making it's really
look at what time it ended, and it was 1 lap. 2 laps.
It doesn't.
We just be wrapping up to this morning.
It doesn't matter. We always used to do 2 laps.
Mm-hmm.
We always used it. They could probably cut down on the size of the group or whatever, or probably shorten the space in the parade. But we always do 2 laps, especially with those who coming out around between 6 and 8 o'clock to watch the second lap because they cannot come out that early in the morning, especially with the children now.
Right.
Great point.
Well, I would
Thank you
definitely
so much.
say if you continue with 2 laps, they definitely have to adjust the size and make some other adjustments.
I don't think that. And then sometimes some of the groups really it's like they catch up on the second lap. You know, the second lap they may feel it'd be more interesting than the first.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much, caller. Appreciate it. Yep. So some limitations have to be put in place. It's getting out of control. Yeah.
At this point, every group should know you only gonna get 1 lap. Leave it all out there that first lap. At the length of the parade, do everything you were gonna do that first lap.
Wow. This person says, tell that guy to stop. As recently as last year's New Year's parade, they did 1 lap. Oh, okay. All right. And many other mornings, it's only been 1. Whoa. Okay. But you get his point, though, that for people who don't want to be out at night, it is enjoyable to see it on that second lap. But yes, something has to be done about the size. Something has to be done. For the Genesis folks, this is not me. This is a text. So don't come for me. This person says, do the Warhawks know that Hawk is affiliated with Spit? So they're asking me to spit on myself when they say hawk up myself?
So, Dwight, you texted yourself?
I did not text that. I just said that. I said that.
Did you send a text to the text line and read it?
That is a text that was
From your
sent in
burner phone?
from a listener. Laverne, that was a text from a listener. It is interesting. This person says the Junkanoo needs to start earlier, have less lag time between groups, and be limited to a maximum size so the parade can end earlier. Well, it starts very early on Boxing Day. That was too early. The bleachers were empty for what seemed like almost a couple of hours. What was the start time? Was it 9 or 10?
9.
Oh man,
I think it was 9.
That's
and
very
I
early.
didn't realize, and we didn't realize it. We were like, okay, we're gonna wait for Junkanoo. My nephew, what's up? Said Junkanoo's on.
Yeah.
You need to tune in now.
So 9
We're like,
o'clock
what?
is early.
What?
But they do New Year's at 2 because people are at parties, people are at church, and they say, give them a chance to do that stuff and then come for 2 o'clock. So one starts very early and one starts very late.
Yeah.
So
But I mean, in the 2 a.m. start time, Dwight, let's be honest, I think it's realistic given it's Christmas Eve and people go to services. They're waiting till midnight. So let's say you waiting for service or whatever, however you're celebrating, bringing in the new year. That doesn't happen until midnight. You have to give yourself an opportunity to get from where you are. If you have to change and get there to jump in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So
that's not going to happen in 30 minutes.
No. This text says here, split, and we've heard this from folks before, split the days. So there's one day it's an A and one day it's a B. I don't know if they mean that only Boxing Day should be an A and New Year's a B, but a different day for the 2 categories. And perhaps it might encourage some of these A groups who should not be an A to join the B group, which will be better for everybody. Better for everybody, especially if they haven't placed in more than 2 decades. You got to wonder what's is it just fun? You could be a fun group instead of competing. This person says here, if I could, I would. I'm not understanding what's going on here. But anyway, penalties are part of the final score, full stop. The suggestion of starting both on Bay and Shirley as a continuous train is the ideal improvement. Hey. So I think a lot of people like that idea. This person says here, one day catering to groups in the A category, one day to B. Yeah, okay. All right. I hear you. Continue to call in, folks. We've got a couple minutes before we have to go to the news. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. All right, so in our final minute, the big question. Do we notice any significant difference from these parades judged by the NJC versus the JCNP? Are we moving in the right direction? Is it different? Is it just a name change, personality change, or can you point to any tangible changes? Was that crickets or no?
I didn't notice anything.
Oh boy!
Again, I may have missed some of the nuances that someone there actually.
Let's see if the caller noticed anything. Caller, what say you on this? Good morning.
Oh no, I didn't hear that part, but I was just calling in about what the minister was speaking about. 14 hours is too long because you have a lot of groups that never would make Bay Street to show what they have. By the time they reach around there, Bay Street is basically cleared. So we have to try to organize it where everybody have a chance in between or forward to expose what they have to offer, the B group or the A group, because they have to rectify that. You have some groups never made it to Bay to show what they have, and some didn't come out with their costumes because of that issue. So that has to be resolved. The minister is going to have to work with the national, whatever, the group, the organization, to resolve the matter where everybody will have an opportunity to showcase what they have. And I know some groups did not bring out what they have because they'll never be able to they were in a rush, but they never brought all their costumes because it don't make no sense. By the time I reached Bay Street, everybody got locked up and gone.
Wow. So before you go, the question I was asking is whether we've noticed any difference with this parade run by the NJC versus the JCNP. Anything you can point to?
Yeah. Well, Boxing Day, it wasn't run at all properly with the new team, and looked like they were able to correct a lot of issues in the New Year's issue. I mean, Boxing Day situation. So it looked like they made adjustments quickly. So there was a big difference now. I mean, it was terrible that Boxing Day I was there. It wasn't good at all. And it looked like they were able to get together and say, look, we need to fix this problem. So it looked like they resolved a lot of the issues. Some other things still happening, but it looked like they were able to get their act together,
Okay.
Yeah.
Great stuff. All right, let's read these messages as we get ready to go to the news. This person says here, it was flowing yesterday, and if you ask me, I am an impartial judge, and I think they got the first and second right based on what I saw on the road. That's Boxing Day and New Year's. Okay, all right. This texter says here, I think groups setting up on Shirley Street is a wonderful idea. We haven't fully explored Shirley Street. Everyone's trying to sit in Rawson Square. That's outdated. And this person says, I love New Year's parade. The talent was excellent. And the church themes from One Family, especially the dancers, that was great. Okay. All right. So people had a good time. They say, New Year's is flowing, but Boxing Day was not. So they did seem to work out some of the kinks there. Okay. All right. Well, Laverne Gardner, I know you have to leave us. Thank you so much for being here.
It was a pleasure to be here.
And I'll see you next week on your regular day, Thursday.
Absolutely. And again, Happy New Year to you and to all of our listeners. I won't start calling names because I don't want to get in trouble.
Okay, don't do that. Thank you so much.
GNN, Papa, Muff. Just saying. Okay. All right. Yeah, but I'm leaving now, so you can have all the smoke.
Wow. Thank you very much. When we come back, we're going to be talking about more John Canoe, but around the world, our history series with the Clifton Heritage Authority. We're going to be getting into that with them. You don't want to miss this. Very interesting conversation, folks, coming up right after the break. Stay with us. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Struggling to find your financial rhythm? Make that move to Fidelity and let us help you orchestrate your financial goals into perfect harmony with free financial coaching sessions. Make that move today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Sherwin-Williams Bahamas doesn't mess about when it comes to product range and product knowledge.
If it's a new product come in the store, we walk the store and study that product.
One thing with our boss, if a new product comes in, he takes the time and he's always keeping us up to date with product knowledge. And we just had 9 weeks of different products that we had to study, and we had exams at the end of each product.
Yeah.
The only way we can sell the product effective, we have to know that product. Yeah, that helps us to relate to our customers. It gives us better knowledge to know what product to introduce to them. You understand? So we can know what product to give them to use and what product not to give them to use. So product knowledge is really key in Sherwin-Williams.
They got the keys. And the key is the product knowledge that comes with our extensive product range at Sherwin-Williams Paints, Bahamas. Find color in every day.
Looking for insurance that fits your lifestyle and your budget? At Star General Insurance, we've got you covered. Whether it's motor insurance with flexible options for third-party liability and comprehensive coverage, or commercial insurance products that protect your business, we have choices you can afford. Own a home or renting? Our home insurance products have just what you need. And for the adventurers out there, we offer marine insurance too. Visit our website or social media pages for contact information and quotes. Star General, insurance made simple.
At CFAL, we understand that a secure future is the greatest gift you can give your employees. That's why our tailor-made group pension solutions are designed to fit the needs of both large and small companies. With CFAL, you can provide the retirement you and your employees deserve, ensuring peace of mind and financial stability for years to come. Join the many businesses that have already entrusted CFAL to create the right pension plan for their employees, and let us help you build a brighter future for your team. Visit us at cfal.com to get started on building wealth so you can live well. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
This is Dwight Strachan with Morning Blend. On behalf of the crew and my co-hosts, I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and an incredibly blessed and prosperous New Year.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Friday, January 2nd, 2026. Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. And this morning it's time for a monthly series, our history series for the Clifton Heritage Authority. And today we are talking about Junkanoo around the world. Yes, around the world. We said it. It is our thing, but it's not just our thing. Although I'm sure our guests will agree that we do it in a very unique and special way, probably the most unique and special among everybody that celebrates Junkanoo. We're very happy to have with us in studio, as usual, Christopher Davis, and joining us, Michael Pateman as well. Gentlemen, good morning. Great to have you with us.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for having us on. Good to be on the first show of the year, too, eh?
Yes, our first guest. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Good morning, and thank you for having us. I'm looking forward to a great conversation about Junkanoo around the world.
Yeah, can't wait. All right, so jump in. I'm sure some people will say, huh? What do you mean around the world? Let's talk about it.
Well, as many people might be aware, and this is all sort of in our, well, not sort of, it is in our new curriculum and a recently published PGCSE textbook. We've, myself and others, Dr. Pateman in particular, and others who've assisted with all of the research, we've sort of made myth into reality, the myth that John Canoe was this great king in Africa. We discovered, of course, that he was in fact Nana John Kwao, the first of Princestown in southwest Ghana. And so the stories of John Canoe coming to the Bahamas are false. I think we could confidently say that now. But through this common origin that we see in the Ahanta region, of course, John Canoe originates from the Ahanta tribe in southwest Ghana, and we have a very special connection with them here in the Bahamas. However, these great warriors who were nicknamed the Spartans of Gold Coast were also dispersed throughout the Caribbean, and other places too. And in fact, we'll get into the discussion of how John Canoe spread to other places from the Bahamas as well. But just to open up, it really has to do with our very special connection to the man known as John Canoe, where the first two slave ships actually, but particularly the first one, known as the Bahama Galley, owned by Governor Fenney, brought about 235 of his warriors and subjects directly here to the Bahamas, at a time when the Bahamas only had just over 200, quote-unquote, mulattoes and blacks living here. So that one voyage, you could see, doubled the black population of the Bahamas, essentially, and, of course, firmly solidified the legacy of the great warrior king, John Canoe, here in the Bahamas and throughout the Americas.
Wow. Okay. So do we have a number? Do we know the exact number of countries that celebrate John Canoe?
I would put it to dozens. So some have done it and some have stopped doing it. And then also you have it in multiple places within the same country as well. So when you look at the United States, for example, it existed in Suffolk. We have counted over 30 villages, cities, and towns just in North Carolina alone. And then, of course, places like Charleston. And then you have John Canoe that would have gone to the United States in modern times when you look at places like Key West and Atlanta, Georgia.
New York.
New York, of course, that have their own versions of John Canoe. But that was more so through modern migrations of Bahamians going there, as opposed to the other ones that I mentioned previously.
Mm-hmm. So is there a common theme? There's one thing that you can say, well, every John Canoe around the world definitely does this.
Well, I'll touch on this, and I'm sure Dr. Pateman will want to add at least 10 cents to this question as well. But essentially, as I mentioned before, it's all linked to this man who the British called John Canoe. He was known by many names. So first of all, through all of these commemorations, you will find that this term, John Canoe, this name, John Canoe, is attached. And even in places where John Canoe did not become the dominant African cultural expression, like in Trinidad and Tobago and Montserrat, and throughout the Dutch colonies in the Caribbean, his name is fully familiar, even though their festivals may carry a different name. And then another commonality is, of course, this continuance of Akan militarism, right, or Ahanta militarism to be more specific, where we see these representations of the royal warrior regalia of the Ahanta people. So, for example, my good brother, Anku, last week, he was talking about and sort of opining on, well, why was it called the Saxons? Well, this is because you would see the Ndantahini, or the sword bearer, in these processions that you see in Ghana. And this was a guy that usually had like a feathered headdress with horns, or just a headdress with horns. And with them, they also had these people that were trumpeters that blew what was commonly known as the ivory trumpet, called the abang. And in places where they do John Canoe in Jamaica, for example, they still call it the abang, which is like a buffalo or a bull's horn that's also called the ivory trumpet. But this representation of the Asafohini, which represents and manifests in different ways as the representation of John Canoe himself. So you have Pitchy Patchy with the whip in Jamaica. You have the Jab Jab in Trinidad and Tobago and in other places as well. You also have in Montserrat, where they have their, I guess you could say, version of John Canoe during the St. Patrick's Day parade, because Montserrat was more so an Irish colony. And, you know, those staunch Catholics, they don't have the drinks and all that stuff like we do, like the Protestants do on Christmas. Their time to party was St. Patrick's Day. right? And so you see many commonalities. And then, of course, Christmas being another main commonality. But Dr. Pateman himself has observed the On Coast Parade in its entirety, as well as he was a special guest at the Belizean Junkanoo last year. So I'll let him expound a bit on that too.
So talking about the similarities, and it's something actually that we've lost in our Junkanoo, but you find a lot of these Junkanoos around, or these John Canoe celebrations around the world, it's about moving from house to house and celebrating or dancing or partying or whatever you want to call it at every house. And it's something we used to do in our celebrations where it would start at one house in one village, and then everybody would march to the next one. And then more people would join them, and then they march to the next one. And you see that in the Kundum celebrations throughout southwestern Ghana, where they start at one family house, then more people join them, and they keep gathering. Belize is the same thing. They start at one house. They dance, they perform, they move on. But I think the big similarity between all the Junkanoos, as Chris was saying, is this sort of this concept of the leader. And you see it even in Belize, where their troops are smaller, but they're led by the masked figure holding a sword. They call it a banqueta. Don't ask me what that means. But
probably indigenous American, right?
Because their John Canoe celebrations are very mixed with indigenous, this Kalinago celebration. So it's very, very different, but you can see the similarities.
Right. And the Belizean Junkanoo, the theory now that's prevailing is because you have these characters that are sort of dressed up as these old Dutch warriors from the 17th and 18th, or sort of 1700s and 1800s. And what they do are sort of these sort of satirical yet subtle and overt, in some cases, reenactments of the military feats of our very own John Canoe, who defeated the Dutch, the British, and many other European slave traders over there in West Africa.
Mm-hmm. And the frequency, I know you mentioned the holiday season, Christmas, but I mean, how often are they celebrating Junkanoo? How often will you see it in their culture?
Well, in Jamaica, it has certainly dwindled. There was a time in Jamaica where, like in the Bahamas, it was the dominant African celebration. There are several articles published on it. But for anyone who wanted more information on that, you could research what they call the Junkanoo riots, or the Christmas riots of 1840 and 1841, where colonial governments would use the control of this festival, of course, to govern the Africans that were living within their various colonies, right? In Belize, though it is something that is very much a part of the Garifuna culture, the Garifuna are a minority that stretch from southern Mexico all the way down to Costa Rica. So it's not just in Belize. Belize is just sort of the epicenter of it. And then, of course, over time, things evolve and take different routes as well. Now, in the case of the United States, of course, where Africans are the minority, and you had all of this, of course, horrible racial violence and white supremacist terrorism, essentially, as we would define it today. We would see that is how John Canoe commemoration sort of dwindled, right? So in Suffolk, Virginia, for example, they would do it every Christmas. Of course, this is also something inextricably linked to the Gullah Geechee culture that, of course, we know as our dialect, our food ways, and all of this stuff linked to that as well. But in Suffolk, Virginia, it was banned after the Nat Turner revolts in 1831. Mm-hmm. In North Carolina, by the end of the 1800s or the 19th century, particularly in the 1890s, Wilmington sort of became the epicenter of it, right? Side note, we can now prove that John Canoe actually went to the North Carolina from the Bahamas, right? So the same Governor, just to divert for 2 seconds, the same Governor Fenney that owned the slave ship, the Bahama Galley, that brought those Ahanta warriors and the subjects of John Canoe to the Bahamas. When he left the Bahamas, he left his wife, who was here, and then he married a woman named Penelope Eden, who was the daughter of the governor of North Carolina at the time, Charles Eden. And of course, there's this place called Edenton, which was at first Edentown. And of course, this is where we see the earliest records of John Canoe commemorations. And then these John Canoe commemorations, when Dr. Pateman and I, along with the Sister City initiative that was graciously supported by Ginger Moxie, we did a lot of research, met with some of the directors of their heritage institutions over there, and we were really able to sort of almost trace John Canoe from Edenton two other areas in North Carolina. So back to your question. So Wilmington became sort of the epicenter of John Canoe in the late 1800s. And then that was banned after something called the Wilmington Massacres. And so Wilmington actually, you hear all of these terminologies of Black Wall Streets and these very affluent Black communities that were rising after slavery. And of course, these communities were then destroyed by white supremacist terrorism, right? And in tandem with the Wilmington Massacre, of course, the result of that was them also banning John Canoe commemorations. And those could be sort of looked at as the final blows to the consistence of John Canoe commemorations in the United States. However, in New Bern, which is another place that has an interesting connection to the Bahamas, because our parliamentary buildings were actually built off of Treon's Palace, which is right there in New Bern. And you have people, shout out to Miss Sharon Bryant there in North Carolina. These are the people who have been trying to keep John Canoe alive, right? And so it has never completely died, thanks to the efforts of the African American community there in New Bern and some of the surrounding areas as well. But essentially, though, to celebrate a great African warrior, who would have defeated in many battles and resisted the transatlantic slave trade, it would have been difficult to continue to commemorate that overtly, right, in the colonial space. But however, now bringing it home to the Bahamas, we see here in the Bahamas, despite these aggressive attempts to ban John Canoe, was banned and brought back, and despite its sort of commercialization and its sort of borrowing from other places like Carnival, people don't like when you talk about that, but it wasn't no feathers in John Canoe till a certain group of Bahamians went down to Carnival and observed other festivals while we were curating ours, and then they ain't like that one, but it's the truth,
It is the truth.
Yeah. However, we have to get out of this mindset of this thing only belonging to us. Now, what I would do is to segue into another point is the way that Jamaicans have exported their culture of reggae, right? And so we have to view it sort of in a similar way. Now other people do reggae. It was born in Jamaica, so it's a little different than John Canoe, but other people do reggae. But of course, we know Jamaicans are the best at it. But you have white reggae artists like Gentleman coming out of Germany. You have all of these people who participate in this culture. And I think that the Bahamas, as we sort of having all of these discussions and debates on the way forward, no pun intended, on how John Canoe should go, I think we should really begin to consider some of these things. And I hear a lot of talk about people saying to make John Canoe and the tourists and all the cruise ship. We don't need to worry anything about any tourists and John Canoe. We need to do our thing that is best for us, and then the tourists will come. But in terms of heritage tourism, though, this is where we need to tap into Jamaica, tap into Central America, tap into the Gullah Geechee people of the United States and say, hey, do you know about the ancestral celebration of John Canoe that your ancestors once did, but was banned because of, essentially, in a nutshell, racial violence in the United States? Well, every Christmas we have this big festival, bring it down, come down. And then you get people, then bring a rapper from Savannah, Georgia, a Gullah Geechee rapper, bring a reggae artist from there. But of course, let that complement, because we know that we have suffered for decades from these long breaks. And truly, John Canoe in itself, though we call it a festival, and it is because of the effort and the size of it in a sense, but in reality, it really isn't a festival. All the shops are closed. Ain't nothing really happening around it. And as you see in Carnival with Trinidad, they have all of these fetes, all of these different things sort of surrounding it. And so this global approach to John Canoe, which was always a global thing, which is what we have to realize, I think is a good way to complement what we already have going on.
Wow. All right. So you said a lot there. I want to go back a little bit. You mentioned the commercialization. And I've seen, this is no way to see these things, but on cruises, I've seen in Belize, I believe the Virgin Islands as well, where there would be I don't know what to call it, but you could tell that the John Canoe there is very, very different from what we're doing.
Right.
More tribal, more of what you might expect to see in Africa.
Certainly.
You mentioned the feathers and the changes we've seen, the other influences. When did we see our John Canoe, and what has influenced it? Why did we do that? To make it more commercial, more like unlike what we used to see and what we do see from Junkanoo in other parts of the world? Why did we do that?
I'll just add 2 cents. So with that one, when you, I like to throw shade on people like Stafford Sands, right? But it's certainly connected to that sentiment, right? People like to talk about this fallacy of the Stafford Sands model and all of that. And essentially there was this sort of exoticism that existed at this time period, right? Where even if you go to one of the old, I can call the name of the site, but there's an old Bahamian site where you could go look at photos. And whoever in there controlling that, they remove some of the captions, because if you see some of the captions, it would sort of reveal this sort of exoticism. So the same way they would go to the human zoo, the same way they would go into this African village and take all of these pictures for social media, it was that same sort of energy, right? And then, of course, keeping into the African tradition of Junkanoo was something that was lost upon us. So this is why we have the group Saxons, as I was mentioning before, which was once the Vikings. We have something called blood memory where we do things and we don't know why we do it. And this is why we see these quote-unquote horned warriors. But of course, we lost the knowledge of our African heritage, right?
Even the concept of every Junkanoo, before they start rushing, they say it's wartime.
Right, exactly.
Nobody knows why they say it. They just they say it. Going to Junkanoo, right. They don't play Junkanoo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but at the same time, when I let Dr. Payman expound after they finish this point, there are things that we have also retained that was not retained by others as well. So to use Jamaica and Belize, for example, well, as you say, it looks more African. It has more of an African feel. It certainly seems more tribal. You would even see some of it, in a sense, is more militaristic. However, on our side of things, what we do, that we share with the Hunter people, is we hold cowbells at the base and we ring them. And you don't see this in other
versions. We ring them violently.
Oh, yeah. And we don't see this at other versions of Junkanoo. Now, Bahamians get a little sensitive when you talk about African spirituality. We're a Christian nation and all that. But the reason these cowbells are rung are to summon the energies of the Asafo, of the militaristic culture, in an attempt to free us from freedom, to free us from enslavement, in my theory, it seems that over time, because in the Hunter region, you'll see these cowbells being rung at different ceremonies. Actually, at my coronation as John Canoe II under Hunter, this is when me and Dr. Payman had to contain ourselves, because we saw a fella there looking like the flower man in John Canoe, dressed in all white, ringing cowbells vigorously with a special vine around his neck, and that vine that we call Sorcy, right? And so the cultural connections are there, and we have retained a lot. However, that commercialization, for me, is a double-edged sword. Because it became our national festival, it sort of had to happen, right? And that commercialization, for me, should have been more, the effort should have been put more on making it feasible and making it sustainable for the actual Junkanoo, so that they could, essentially, put it simply, so that they could make more money and doing this culture, right? But on the other side of it, the commercialization that we saw that began really from the 1930s, Bahamianology did an excellent article on what are we celebrating, and you could see the sort of energy of this notion of the British colonial government allowing us to do John Canoe and all of these things. So just being in the colonial space, naturally you would have seen this watering down of the militarism and then this commercialization, which again is a double-edged sword.
But can I jump in there also? I think a lot of people, this is something a lot of people complain about Junkanoo. They say, oh, the competition is killing Junkanoo. No. It's probably the competition that has saved our Junkanoo, because with competition comes evolution. Somebody is always looking for something that they can add to one-up the other groups. Right. And you see, for example, in Belize, they're struggling to keep their Junkanoo alive. So what did they do? They borrowed a page out of the Bahamas model. Now they have a competition along with their annual traditions and parade. And this has caused the Belize version to explode, because now they have a youth competition and they have an adult competition. And their Junkanoo is more of a dance, a drum beat, and a sing. Mm-hmm. And so I went and saw their competition along with being in their parade. And it's interesting, the 17, 18, 19-year-olds are dominating the competition because there's money involved. So now you have people interested, but also the young people are bringing in new ideas and making slight changes to it. And so you hear the old talking heads, oh, they're not wearing the traditional black shoes, they're wearing sneakers. I'm like, Okay.
If you're running up and down, rushing and dancing, it's better to wear sneakers.
So, but you see that even with our Junkanoo, you hear people complain about the feathers. But let's think about it. We didn't originally have brass in our Junkanoo. Brass was brought in.
No one complained about that, though.
Nobody complains about that. I mean, there's two parts of our Junkanoo that people look forward to the most. It's the brass and it's the choreographed dancers.
Right.
And choreographed dancers, I'm going to put a shout out to my own family lineage because a lot of people will give Maureen Devalier credit for that. But let's say she brought women free dancing to Junkanoo with a little bit of routine. It wasn't until junior Junkanoo where, and this was my mother's invention, she brought choreographed dancing in junior Junkanoo at Uriah McPhee. And then you found in the next Junkanoo parade, Roots brought it into the senior parade. So a lot of people credit Paul Roll for that, but I'm going to shout out my mother, Jean Pateman. She brought that into the parade route through Uriah McPhee and Junior.
Jean Campbell Pateman.
Some people will say Camp, but yeah, got to go both sides of the family tree. Yeah. So it's these aspects of the competition and us always trying to one-up each other, I think, is what saved our Junkanoo. It may have caused some unintended consequences that we don't like, but we have to remember competition really spurs invention and helps drive things forward.
And I would like to put a suggestion right out there. I know you could love this one, Dwight. I don't think some groups could love it and some won't, but even in here in the Bahamas, so we have these issues. I don't call no groups names or whatever, but what we should do, this one might surprise you, but I actually want to borrow something from English culture for this one. Well, there's sports culture, I should say, and you might be familiar with like the English Premier League, Soccer League. One of the most competitive, most watched leagues, the NBA, the NFL don't have nothing on the English Premier League, right? You will have one derby game where it have the same amount of watches almost as the Super Bowl, right? However, one of the reasons that this league is so competitive is because they have promotion and relegation. So I'll put this idea out there right now, right? The group that finished last in the A, you drop down to B, and the group that finished first in the B, you come up to A. And that creates a whole nother line, a competition. And we know that the groups like Valley Boys, Saxons, One Family, and Roots a bit, they sort of absorb the minds and hearts of all the games. They have the most fans. But now if we add this, the groups that typically finish in the bottom three, now they have their own battle going on. And the battle is, don't finish last. You see, and you will see this when you introduce this relegation and promotion thing. That will certainly increase the competition. And I think it will cause that certain groups that have disappointed in the past to really step their game up because the stakes are now higher.
Love it. Junkadoos are going to come for you on that one.
Yeah,
we've had two great ideas this morning. Love it.
Yeah,
love it.
Relegation
that is a great
and
idea.
Promotion. Yeah.
So we got two. We got to do it. Relegation, and you got to start where you are. So we can start on Shirley Street, some of the groups, and just have a continuous parade.
Right.
And I think we could really fix this thing and make it amazing.
There you go. So you get the big groups battling for face and for bragging rights, but who beat who? But then you get the smaller 8 groups, and so that's an idea that I always sort of had. And Dr. Payman and I, as a matter of fact, and others who have been sort of on this journey, this Junkanoo journey with us, we've had a lot of plans for Junkanoo, not necessarily trying to change the whole thing. And with all due respect, of course, to those who have given us what we have now, we like to complain a lot about it, the time, the wait, and all of these things. But a part of it is, it's our culture. When you go to Jamaican Sumfest and you listen to the radio the day after Jamaican Sumfest, it's the same thing. You go to Trinidad Carnival, you listen to the radio a week or two after Trinidad Carnival. Believe it or not, it's very similar. But through this competition and all these things will certainly grow. And then even to fill the gaps in between, we could have a tom-tom drumming competition. All of the stores on Bay Street are closed. And to segue into another point, there was a struggle for us to put Junkanoo on Bay Street. So we know that Junkanoo has evolved. I hear a lot of people saying that it's probably outgrown Bay Street, but historically, remember that there was a struggle for us to get it on Bay Street. So that's why I talk about this commercialization being sort of a double-edged sword, and sort of honor of our ancestors in defiance of the racism that they would have experienced. I leaning more towards keeping it on Bay Street and just finding a way to try to make it work, right? But I could also understand people saying to move it. However, when we look at Junkanoo, we have to always sort of remember where it came from, why we do it, and I think that it will always sort of steer us in the right direction, right? And I think that people from the Ministry of Culture, for example, sort of understand that, and that's why, for me, outside of the COVID pandemic, it would be absolutely tragic if, for any reason at all, we didn't have a Junkanoo festival outside of the laws of God that we can't really control, right?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so you mentioned this early, heritage tourism and the educational aspects of it. How are we doing in terms of getting the word out on what Junkanoo really is, where it has come from, and how it compares to Junkanoo around the world?
Well, I think we've actually been doing a good job. There's a lot more to do because a lot of people have this mindset that John Canoe was an enslaved man in the Bahamas and he begged for permission for his people to go out and celebrate. That narrative needs to be thrown away with yesterday's trash. It's not correct. Now, whether or not you want to agree with the research that Christopher has done that shows that the roots are in southwestern Ghana, Princestown, that's fine. But without a doubt, the man known as John Canoe by the British never left Ghana.
Yeah.
He was a powerful chief. He fought against enslavement, and John Canoe celebrations are in commemoration of this warrior king. That, without a doubt, is 100% verifiable fact.
Yeah.
And I think that's the aspect of the story that needs to be out there more than anything else.
Right.
Now, back to your original heritage tourism question. I disagree with Christopher. I think we need to move Junkanoo off of Bay Street because, or change it. I mean, there's some things that are controversial that's out there. Maybe move the B groups to a different day. But we've outgrown Bay Street as the parade is set up now. And as was said earlier, I just came back from Ghana where I took part in their masquerade festival. It's considered the biggest street carnival in the world, and it is just absolutely crazy chaos.
Yep.
And there's some things they do that maybe we need to look at. Like Chris talked about how the shops are closed on Bay Street. Everything was open. I was shocked that every shop, and then but a lot of vendors were out there. So there's a way to make the commercialization and economy work with the Junkanoo celebrations. There's going to have to be some changes. But I think those are things that we can look at. But even there's this now talk of, or they've started doing it where they turn Junkanoo into a week-long celebration. Right. During the masquerade, I was just blown away. These guys have been marching all day. Then they have stages set up at different intersections along the march route. And a group will go to a stage, and then they just party like crazy. Then another group comes in. They move off to another stage, move to a DJ station. It shuts. Their roads are still open. And don't make the mistake of trying to drive during the middle of this because you're going to be stuck. It's just a mass movement of people. But it's on our festival days, I think now would be a good idea to have different, I don't want to call them party stations, but music stations, DJs, different artists and so forth. So it allows the festival goers to sort of experience different music, as Chris was talking about, bring in different artists from throughout the diaspora, and we could call it the John Canoe diaspora.
There you go.
You have Jamaica, you have Belize, you have different parts of Africa, you have throughout the Caribbean, you have the Carolinas, the Virginias.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can imagine the kind of, I want to call it street festival experience that could create.
Yep.
Michael, I'm just curious. I mean, do they have spectators? Or were people seated on bleachers or anywhere? Or was
actually, that's the part that surprised me. So there was limited seating at the main stage area, but outside of that, you stood up.
Right. So they will have seating for certain dignitaries in certain areas, but again, it's very similar to Carnival in Trinidad. People just out there. All the shops are open. It's all good vibes. And another aspect that you see is they tip. So if you like the bison costume, even outside of the festival, you will see a group of masqueraders at a traffic light dancing and playing music. And they get the bucket right there, and you just go out there and tip them. Now, in the Bahamas, it'll be difficult for us to walk out on the parade. Oh, I like your costume, or I like how this dancing girl dancing, or whatever it is.
You don't want that.
Yeah, right. That could be a disaster. However, we could definitely take a page out of their book and find ways, of which we sort of planning right now, for the general public to contribute to the sacrifice that these junkanoo make, that we all sympathize with, right? Yeah. And not only that, we could also make this, now this where it can be troublesome. Remember me and you discuss this. And I could be so honest with you, I come from a Valley Boy family. I let the cat out the bag. And even if I know it in my heart, the Valley Boys ain't win that parade, I probably still can vote for them.
They rob us.
And say they rob us, right? You know how that goes. So, but if we could be a little more honest, I just think that there needs to be a way too that the general public also contributes to the junkanoo results as well. And so we need young people, we need people with innovative ideas, to bring in new, fresh ideas, mix it with some of the old, of course. It's not about replacing anybody or anything. But I think, unfortunately, and I'm not casting aspersion in any particular direction, but there's always been these sort of gatekeepers of junkanoo who control how the parade goes, who control where the money go, who control where this go, who lead this, who lead that. And I think it just needs to be opened up a lot more, in my opinion.
Yeah. And you'll often hear a lot of people say, well, be nostalgic about how it was in the 80s and before, about just finding a spot to stand up to watch it, and how much fun that was, and how things have changed so much right now.
Right.
Well, all right. So where do we go from here? You talked about some of the great ideas. People have them. People say them every day. They say this should happen, but we don't often see it incorporated. What can we do about that, and what other ideas can we implement so that we can keep this thing going?
I'll let Chris go first.
Yeah. So, as we are sort of alluding to as well, the history and the culture, why we rush is paramount to everything. And then we realize that, hey, of course, we do it the best, the biggest, the brightest. One could even argue that if the Bahamas had not continued their junkanoo celebrations, all of this history might have just been lost, But I think we just need to immerse ourselves in that. And as we have always been doing, when we looked and sought to evolve junkanoo, we looked elsewhere to our brothers and sisters throughout the African diaspora. But now we know that we have an identifiable junkanoo diaspora, right? So the big and bright minds that we have could figure out a way to monetize junkanoo and let junkanooers make money. As Dr. Pateman alluded to, it might be good to move it. But if we do move it, we have to make sure that history of Bay Street is known. You know what I mean? For me too, I used to be in their ears like a mosquito, that we need to move that Victoria statue, replace it with John Canoe I, and change the name of Rawson Square, because Rawson, who Rawson Square is named after, former governor, was also one of the main brainchilds behind some of the horrible genocides in indigenous American schools in Canada. And he helped the Rio Tinto company in South Africa. So you know anything about that, you know the type of man he was. So why are we naming our square after him? Name that square John Canoe Square. That's where we rush through. That's where you carry on bad. That's where you show your costume off. That's where the music is the best. The T is one of my own groups, the Valley Boys, that look good on Rawson Square. Now when I go on to watch them on Shirley Street, it was almost unrecognizable, But I think we just need to open it up a bit more. Those who have held the reins, so to speak, for so long, not to be harsh, but some of them need to not be pushed on the side, but be given their flowers. Thank you for your contribution, because it's not that they have done a bad job. John Canoe has continued to go. We have our issues, but at the end of the day, it's something that we all love. When two things that get Bahamians heated is John Canoe and immigration, right? Not a lot of, we ain't gonna get into that one today, because that's a whole other issue. Not at all, please don't. But the former is one that certainly comes from a place that's more pure of heart. And in my opinion, just a genuine love for our culture and a genuine concern for the state of our culture and the state of the parade, right? And so, yes, we could argue about the time the groups come out and the general safety and all of these things, some of which are trivial issues when you look at the grand scheme of things. So I don't know if Dr. Payman
All right, so I'm going to jump in there. So some of the complaints that we have, and this is some of the reasons why we need to move John Canoe. So the time it takes groups to come out. Come to Grand Bahama. Come and see John Canoe there. groups are able to stage in one location and be in the hole in the next location. So when one group moves, the other group can come right out.
Right.
That's impossible for Nassau Junkanoo. It's just the space doesn't allow for it. So when the group finally is able to move out, now a group has to come from 20 different directions and get set, get ready. There's going to be a long wait in between groups. You just cannot fix that. Bay Street. I mean, you can speed it up, but to get back to the original question, and this goes back to some of the stuff Chris said, we have to find a way to allow some of the younger people in Junkanoo to take over. Because I'm not going to get into the debate between the NJC and the JCNP, but when I saw pronouncements by groups that they weren't Russian, I would send it to some of my friends, teasing, because I stayed out of it. Oh, you guys aren't Russian? And they're like, what are you talking about? The younger people in the groups who are leaders in these groups had no ideas that some of their leaders made decisions without consulting the young leadership. And I see a lot of younger Junkanoos getting very frustrated at the whole sort of gatekeeping, as Christopher was talking about earlier. But even to improve our Junkanoo, and I'm going to throw a little bit of shade here, we need to actually find a way to improve the way we broadcast Junkanoo. I mean, I watched some of the New Year's Day Junkanoo on ZNS and cable, and I felt like this is how it was looked on TV from the 80s. Yes, they're now using drones. Actually, I think they're overusing drones. But the sound sucks. The announcers and commentators, I'm sorry, 90% of them don't know Junkanoo.
Yeah.
They know the groups, they know the leaders, but they know nothing. I will use Grand Bahama Junkanoo as example because I live in Grand Bahama now. I've been doing a lot of behind-the-scenes documenting of Junkanoo in Grand Bahama, like going into shacks, interviewing people, like getting that culture so we keep it alive. And after the parade, I decided to rewatch the broadcasts. And the first group that came out, the Platinum Knights, at the time, they were the 6-time champions. Everybody who knew anything about Junkanoo thought they looked flat for them. The ZNS commentators said, oh, they looked great. They came out looking, this was great Platinum Knights. Their guest commentator at the time was the minister, Mario Bolek. And they said, Minister, what do you think? And he's like, that was not Platinum Knights. They looked flat. And it's just like, it's a shame that the minister came out and kind of had to teach the commentators that not everybody looks good. Don't be afraid to say that. But it's also so obvious when you watch the commentators that outside of knowing the leaders and having the synopsis in front of them, they know nothing about these groups.
Oh, wow.
So I think as broadcasters, we need to know a little bit more about the groups that are coming out there. Yes, this will probably entail...
Dr. Michael Payman, I salute you because plenty of people are thinking it and have not said it out loud.
I said it out loud after Grand Bahama Junkanoo, and I got a lot of flack for it. But if you're going to be talking about a group on Bay Street or on Shirley Street, know the history of the group at least.
Right.
Or know someone outside of the leader of the group. How can you talk or know a little bit more than what's on a piece of paper about their themes?
Yeah.
That, to me, I think is the biggest problem with our broadcast at Junkanoo. The sound and the commentators knowing nothing about what they're talking about. And I know people are going to come after me for the statement, but it's the truth. And if you want to improve Junkanoo, because we have to be real, not everyone's going to be able to get out there. And now Junkanoo is broadcast online to the world. And I see the same complaints every Junkanoo. The sound's horrible. What are these commentators talking about? Stop flying the drone so much. I mean, we have to think about the way we do it. I was happy to see this year that at least the broadcast group started broadcasting from the hole, because if you know anything about Junkanoo, that's where the excitement starts and builds. Yeah. It's not Rossin Square. Shirley Street is great, but start in the hole, and I was so happy to see that. So it's an improvement, but there's still a lot of work. And I think if we're going to improve Junkanoo, we have to improve how we broadcast it.
Wow, that is powerful. Okay, you mentioned something, and I have to ask it. So you said it, Grand Bahama, we can learn a lot from these smaller parades. Are there things going on the Family Islands that Nassau can learn from that is more authentic or innovative, the way of the future? What are we seeing there?
Right. We have to remember as Bahamians that Junkanoo does not belong to New Providence.
Right.
And I heard it once again during the NJC versus JCNP debate. Junkanoo is Bahamian. And a lot of people from New Providence believe that, oh, we go to all these parades and we help fill in the parades. While it's true that people from New Providence go to the other parades like Grand Bahama, most people I know in Grand Bahama who were involved in Junkanoo rushed in Nassau just the last couple of days. So there's more people coming from the islands filling in the New Providence parade. We have a lot of sort of claims of how things have evolved in Junkanoo again that people from the islands say that they came up with first, and then it's been adapted in New Providence. I don't know. So as I said, I've been doing a lot of interviews in Grand Bahama. I need to now move it to other islands to see if these stories are correct. But we have to remember, Junkanoo is a Bahamian celebration, our version of Junkanoo. And I challenge people, like Grand Bahama Junkanoo, while it's smaller than New Providence Junkanoo, it's very well done. I felt like the last couple of years, because I've only been in Grand Bahama for a few years, the winners of the Grand Bahama Parade would have given, with the same resources, because New Providence groups have access to a whole lot more money than the Grand Bahama groups. If you give these groups in Grand Bahama the same resources, they would compete, and some of them can win the New Providence Parade.
Then we got another Junkanoo festival around, I don't know, just let's do another holiday, get a couple of days off work, and then we could do the National Junkanoo Festival where all the groups come in, you know. But I think...
But resources have to be equal for something like that, because I remember during the independence celebrations, one family was brought to Grand Bahama because they had just won the last parade. And the amount of money offered to one family to come to Grand Bahama to rush was peanuts compared to what all of the groups in Grand Bahama were offered to be a part of the parade. And some of the groups in Grand Bahama just refused. It was like, no way, you're giving us $5,000 to go rush, but yet you're paying for one family to come here. You're putting them in hotels. You're giving them more seed money. It's not fair to us. So I think we have to sort of treat and provide resources across the board. The government has stepped up and has started to give the island communities more resources, but corporate sponsors need to be involved. But even just us, we complain about, something in Junkanoo. If you have a favorite Junkanoo, as Chris talked about, tip him, give him something.
Thank you.
Help him out. Junkanoo is very expensive, and a lot of people spend their money on it. And the bleacher warriors who, I spent $50 on this bleacher ticket, and I'm come on, $50. You know how much $50 is just a couple of lines of crepe paper.
You're right. Yeah.
Wow. Christopher Davis, you got the final word.
Yeah, so let's remember, again, exactly why we celebrate Junkanoo in commemoration of this great warrior king that fought against slavery and colonization. Dr. Payman always brings up a good point, and I think I was even guilty of it myself in the beginning of the show, where we take a very Nassau-centric approach to Junkanoo. And we oftentimes, even us historians, we oftentimes forget that Junkanoo was once centered around the plantations, most of which were on the family islands, right? And so you have like an interesting report, for example, from Charles Farquharson, talking about them having a big rocket in the Christmas and how scared he was in San Salvador, right? And remember that we all sort of come from these places, right? And I think we just need to do what Dr. Payman was just alluding to just now. We need to open it up. We need to relax. We need to appreciate our culture, understand why we do it, know that this is something that can never die. And though we naturally will have conflicts, we just need to come together and make it happen. And for those who want to learn a lot more, of course, about the origins of Junkanoo, at a past event that we had at Clifton Heritage National Park, so you could come out there, and I have a quite extensive exhibit on the origins of Junkanoo with brand new artifacts out on display as well. And so you could come out there, take a guided heritage tour, and you can also take pictures of all of the panels, and you will have much of, not all of course, but much of the information that we were talking about here. And it's quite student friendly as well, so we encourage people to bring your families out, and you can learn about the origins of Junkanoo as well as its evolution and its connection to resistance. So, because we like to say, well, we all know Junkanoo is about freedom, but we could get more specific to how it manifested its connection to slave revolts throughout the Americas as well, and here in the Bahamas as well.
Excellent stuff. Christopher Davis, Dr. Michael Payman, thank you so much. A very interesting conversation this morning, and we look forward to our are seeing you all again, Chris, later in the month for another one of our history series here.
Could I have one last word also?
Yes, Michael.
I would encourage everybody, if you're available, come to Grand Bahama on January 9th. This is when Junkanoo is now being moved to in Grand Bahama. Majority rule holiday. Majority rule holiday. Sorry, I'm a little exhausted still from travel. Come on the 9th for Junkanoo. Stay on the 10th for the All Bahamian concert. Yeah. You will see a different Junkanoo, and you'll actually appreciate that, wow, Junkanoo is throughout the islands. I know Exuma has a big one. I think we've just missed that.
Harbor Island, Lutra.
Come to Grand Bahama. They'll blow your mind on how good these groups are in Grand Bahama.
Okay, that is great stuff. Encouraging, and I learned a lot this morning. And again, Chris, I love that idea of relegation. I said it today. Prodigal sons of music makers. Anyway.
See, now I ain't calling no groups. That's Dwight Strachan who called the group there, baby.
Anyway, guys, thanks a lot. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to wrap things up on this first show for 2026. Stay with us.
Okay.
Planning for retirement can be overwhelming, but with CFAL, it doesn't have to be. We offer tailor-made individual, group, and pension solutions that take the guesswork out of retirement planning. Whether it's for you or your company, don't leave your future to chance and let the trusted hands of CFAL's experts guide you toward peace of mind and financial stability. Low upfront costs and affordable monthly payments make it easy for you to build wealth so you can live well. Visit us at cfal.com to start on your path toward financial freedom. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
Step inside the John Baptiste Jazz Club at Bahamar, where the rhythm of the islands of the Bahamas meets the soul of New Orleans. Every night, the lights dim, the music swells, and the air fills with that unmistakable energy. The kind that makes you close your eyes and just feel. Savor signature cocktails, curated small plates, and live performances from world-class musicians, all in an intimate, artfully designed space where every seat has a story. Whether it's a romantic night out or a spontaneous evening with friends, this is where you want to be. The John Baptiste Jazz Club, only at Bahamar. Reserve your table now at bahamar.com/jazz club or through the Bahamar app, because every evening plays its own tune.
From Kenny and the whole team at Kenny's Corner, we wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Stay tuned for more conversations that you love right here on Kenny's Corner.
Saturday Morning Business Report brought to you by CFAL. The IDB, the Inter-American Development Bank, while praising the Bahamas' improvements in a report on cybersecurity across Latin America and the Caribbean, says that legal professionals require more training in order to better handle the prosecution of cybercrime cases. The report shows that this country has improved over the years in a number of areas relating to cybersecurity, including strategy, critical infrastructure protection, crisis management, and media and online platforms. Most of the country's marks across 23 categories on a scale of 5 are at a 2, while a few are graded at 3. Reports saying that the Bahamas has made significant progress, but that the strategy envisions the country as a secure and trusted digital society supporting economic growth, benefiting citizens. It says cybersecurity plays a pivotal role in the country's national strategy. The report explains that though the country's culture of cybersecurity is developing, more public-private initiatives will be needed to boost awareness about the sector. In your Market Watch recapping trading on the BISX from the last trading day before the holiday on Wednesday, your market mover CIBC First Caribbean moving 8,000 981 shares, closing at 1624 unchanged. J.S. Johnson moving 335 shares, unchanged at 1676. Consolidated Water down 8 cents, closing at 7.10. And Emira Incorporated up 2 cents, closing at $12.07. The Basic All-Share Index closing at 3,109.63, down 0.06. That's your Market Watch, and that is your morning business report brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. And that is going to do it for us today. I want to thank Laverne Gardner for being here earlier and our guests from Clifton Heritage Authority. And our first show for 2026 in the bag. We'll be back on Monday with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Everybody have a great day, a great start to the new year, a wonderful year. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green coming up next.